Behold the spellbinding abilities of Rivenwood Academy.
Hi, we are now semi-live. I'm Kara858, and we're bringing you Rivenwood Academy Season 2, Episode 22. Of course, thank you for joining us here at the Cookout. We're going to transition right into our session as we head on over to Aaron, who giggles has got me to giggle. Why did you do this to me, fam? Why did you do this to me? With that said, Aaron, take it away.
Flames that. All right, so where we are right now is we are standing just beyond this tall hedge perimeter of the safe haven for Ardris's family. You have seen a beautiful, very lifelike statue of Ardris's mom with her hand outstretched towards the open gate that you went through. But just as you were approaching, two figures emerged from underneath shadowed trees as night has fallen, and you have seen Professor Alfred Loom and Jorhan, otherwise known as Old Kellen. So both of them have kind of begun to approach where you are, near the statue. But it's up to you, kind of what order do you guys want to act in? Where do you want to do? We're going to start with conversations, or?
I mean, we're technically still sneaking, right?
Yeah, you're technically still sneaking. Sure.
Okay.
But they know.
As I remember, it was a pretty mixed bag in terms of the sneak last time. So, like, some of you are still sneaking, yeah.
Sneaking is my house, so I'm here. It's my house.
Otis is trusting me.
Why are you two here?
Oh, Ardris, it's good to see you. I reached out to them a couple days ago. They said you were headed here. Honestly, we've been waiting a bit longer than I thought we would be, but, well, I'm sure we can catch up after you've seen to Lady Alard. And you watch as, like, Loom looks completely happy and friendly, is talking to you. You watch as Jorhan looks at you, goes to look at Kellen, and then double takes back to you, Ardris, taking, like, a pretty long look. And then kind of forces his gaze away, looks over at Kellen. Kellen, how do you physically look right now?
Well, he's not injured, like health-wise, but I imagine based on the things that did happen to him, his clothing's like pretty jacked up right now. And there might be a weird look in the eye that if you're looking deep enough, you can see the essence of someone who's been petrified.
Well, at the very least, there's a couple new calluses from where you've been doing several hours of strenuous crossbow work, which is uncharacteristic of you. He gives you a strong look over and it's like,
100%. Although, reminder, I'm no longer exhausted thanks to my friends. So
that is true. You are no longer exhausted. So he gives you a look over and it's like,
love and friendship.
and then looks over at the rest of you, catches Micah's eye. Hey, Micah. Kellen.
Hi.
Mary.
You need to, honestly, I don't know how you lived this long. And she, like, actually points to Kellen. Going around like that.
I guess you could say I got by with a little help from my friends.
He smiles a little bit.
Michael will turn towards Ardris and say, Can you heal your mother? Or
I'm gonna look at the two people real suspiciously before I go closer to the statue.
Can Otis observe his surroundings?
Yeah, make a perception check.
On it.
Micah, as you say, can you heal your mother? Loom drops a hand like onto your shoulder. Just gives you kind of like a. We'll talk after he's finished.
Otis got a 27.
Oh, okay.
I think Otis said he got a 27. What are you specifically looking for anything? Or you're just trying to get a layout here?
Specifically, like a layout, any sense of further danger.
Okay. There's not a clear path from the gate to the house. They've planted a whole bunch of trees and natural kind of breaks in line of sight, so that if anyone breached the perimeter, it would be that much more difficult to get to the house. So it is a little bit difficult, but with a 27, I will say, you do notice, you can see where roughly the house is. Like, it is almost camouflaged by kind of the way that they've planted these trees and this kind of thing, but you can just make out the edge of where you think is the slope of a roof. So you think, okay, here, this is the direction of the house. Obviously, you see the statue of Artras's mother. Not too much further away and a little bit to the north, there's another statue that you notice. And you notice that near the gate, you passed it, but to the south of the gate, there's a bit of rubble. And apparently there are forest cats around here somewhere.
Forest cats, okay.
There are cats anywhere I exist, and therefore there are cats here.
That's the power of the Alaran cats. We already know.
Well, I will begin the depetrification process.
Okay. So you use 1 dose on your mother. And again, as you kind of place your hand on her shoulder in order to start applying it, it is like you're just wiping off a thick layer of dust. I mean, it is stone otherwise, but with that on your hand, it just kind of starts to wipe away and immediately begins to radiate from where you start applying it.
Mary wants to watch it happen. Like, if not getting like too close to Archer's, but she just wants to see like how it actually happened.
What is your dark vision situation like?
You're asking me?
Yep.
I have double sight.
Okay.
So
you can actually see this really well, yeah. For the Kellans, and maybe only the Kellans, because it is night now, there's no natural light source currently available, and there's no artificial light sources currently lit. So the heavy canopy is blocking even like moonlight and this kind of stuff. It is quite dark in this area. But you can see pretty well as this takes effect pretty quickly. You think this is a pretty strong dose that has been brewed. It would take approximately 10 minutes for the full effect to happen. So
Luminari.
10 minutes of time. Callan lights up.
Oh, interesting. Nazareth didn't. That's her favorite word. Okay.
Oh, yeah. I wanted you to remind me. What is Nazareth's situation right now?
What is her what right now?
What's her situation right now? Like, I know the Nadine part of Nazareth is working, but what shape is the familiar form of Nazareth in?
She is a raven.
Okay. She is still on Micah's shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
And as Micah does not seem to need the light, she does not light up.
Okay. Micah the jacked Otis's bird. Yo, I'm here for it.
Oh.
But yeah, Otis would probably be like, "Are we in danger?"
To whom are you speaking?
To Alfred.
Well, if I were going to guess, I'm going to go with a yes. I don't know what's going on for a lot of it, but the pieces I do know indicate, generally speaking, a lot of people are in danger. So you're going to have to give me a little more information about like your specific situation. But given that currently Mr. Alaran is depetrifying Lady Alaran, I'm going to go with yes, there is danger, generally speaking.
So Idris's mom is dangerous. I had no clue. This is Otis's attempt at sarcasm.
Loom thinks for a little bit, opens his mouth, closes it, looks at you, and goes, "Yes, she is dangerous, and you should be very, very polite."
Otis is fixing his mouth real hard to say, "I'll do what I
Inside
want."
I mean, roll it. Let me pull up Loom's character sheet really quick.
Uh-oh.
He's an exceptionally good liar.
I was gonna say it's gonna be a hard check.
Good luck.
He's an eloquence bard.
He's just Alfred Gloom.
He's got that Loom persuasion. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like,
His
Do
own
you know
category.
what I'm saying?
I spin yarns like I spin yarns. You feel me?
I mean, that's a 24. I don't know if it'll be enough, but it's a 24.
ooh.
Mm.
Very nice, very nice. Let me see what he ends up with.
Let's go kill it.
Oh, man, it's just a bit slow right now.
It's all good.
No worries.
I am incredibly sorry. Or I guess I'm not sorry in the slightest, but he did roll a natural 20.
Wow.
Oh.
Okay, Aaron.
What is that total? Can we know?
An amount, for sure.
Oh no.
It's in the 40s.
It totals a 33. I will tell you that. It totals a 33.
Okay.
It's like a 13 to sleight of hand my dagger up my sleeve.
So, what you take from that when he says, "Argus' mom is dangerous. You should be very polite." Everyone within the sound of his voice is very convinced that you should be incredibly polite.
Oof.
To keep
Like,
Otis
if
away.
anything, you feel like he's understating it a little bit. And my goodness, you should be polite.
Mm.
I still sleight of hand my dagger out.
Professor.
What's your rolling now?
13.
Okay. Yes, Mary.
Is that from experience that you know that you need to be polite to her, or?
I mean, okay. I feel like it's rather rude to be talking about it, like, right in front of her. But I think it's suffice to say, House Alarin is well connected and powerful. As the lady of the house, she is due the respect of not only her position, but also she is a preeminent person in her own right.
I don't think that I was saying that she wasn't. I think I was saying more of, did you say something that you weren't supposed to and then she got mad at you?
Oh, no. I don't piss people off unless I want to.
That's fair, yeah.
Anyone else have something they briefly want to do in this 10-minute time frame?
No. Otis will be waiting on the deck.
I'll just be watching in the mirror.
Yeah, Otis will really be trying to figure out what to say as to be polite. Because it's something he hasn't really given much thought to.
Sorry, Kellen, did you say mirror? Which mirror?
Goran.
Oh.
Okay.
I thought you meant like you literally had a mirror out, and I was like, all right,
No.
that's an interesting strategy for something.
As the sanctuary or something? Like,
Okay. He looks like he's waiting for an opportune time. Like he's got plenty he wants to talk about. Like you know what you look like when you want to talk, but he's trying to wait out like a more appropriate time.
Can I see the like random equations being solved in his head as he deals with boredom, or?
What you can see is his hand in his pocket seems to be fiddling with something.
Aha.
I think that you would be aware that that was happening. All right, we'll jump 10 minutes in the future. The antidote to petrification is finished taking effect, and as it finally finishes, there's a small, soft glow of light, and then you watch as your mother inhales for the first time, and her eyes flutter open, and she's staring at the gate, because that's where her eyes were last locked. Slowly, her arm comes down as she turns, and she's a very graceful person, so even though she's kind of in this weird position where she should, by all rights, be completely off guard, she's still moving with a certain amount of like poise and dignity, where she's just kind of like, she gently turns her head to survey the surrounding and kind of take stock of who's there. When she sees you, Ardris, she moves. And she immediately takes like the 2 steps that it will take to empty the distance between you, and puts a hand on your shoulder and then on your cheek. And is like, Ardris.
Oh, Mother, I hope your time wasn't too uncomfortable.
I don't remember.
Is most likely for the best. Are you all right? Do you wish to take a moment to relax, or some water, perhaps?
Yes, I would appreciate some water. Etienne, Emirates, are they around? And Etienne is her personal guard, and Imra is the one that is normally assigned to you. When you went to school, there was this big kind of discussion among your family about, because you don't argue, things just get decided. But you know that there was a big discussion about, was Imrit going to accompany you to school? And eventually it came along, no, but when you're in Therantomio, Imrit will be with you. And it's kind of like, now you're like, oh yeah, I've been in Therantomio for a while, and Imrit hasn't been beside me.
Fortunately, no. I haven't been able to contact either of them, which is a bit concerning. But things have been quite hectic. Perhaps we should, and he will guide her towards the home proper.
Otis,
She nods and she says, they were here last I remember.
I've been here, it's been empty, so hopefully they were all right. Perhaps I will find them somewhere around here.
Of course. We have guests. Please come, make yourself at home.
Otis will actually use one of his charges from one of his charms for create food and water, and give her a glass of water.
Oh. Thank you. I appreciate this.
I was like, you're welcome.
And she takes a very obvious sip before beginning to continue to move on to the house.
You're all welcome to join us as well. Please, it may be the first time to enjoy yourselves over the next few days. I apologize for the current state of things.
Okay, but Ardris, this is Shorhan speaking. Sorry, I don't want to interrupt, but I did notice another statue, if you want to check it out.
Of course. Well, I will be with you shortly. I will see if there's anyone else around here. Hopefully no one else is in this condition, but we'll see.
Ardris, do you want me to go with your mom? Because I know with all the petrifying stuff, you get really tired. And just going to pass out after.
Yes, I'm sure she would find your company to be delightful, Miri.
She'll start walking to his mom.
And then Arjun's mom kind of gives you a nod and is like, I'm so sorry. Your name was
Miri.
Mary. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, I kind of know. I also was a statue at one point, I think.
Did you remember it?
Not as much either, but felt very stuck.
Yes. I feel very lethargic.
Oh yeah, I remember that. I think I passed out pretty quickly after.
She pointedly does not yawn, but kind of like turns her head a little bit, is like, well, if we could, and begins to lead both of you and anyone who's following towards the house. Who's going to the house?
Otis is definitely going to the house because that's where Miri's going.
Okay. Micah, which way are you going?
Micah will head towards the statue just to make sure that the statue is able to be unpetrified. Fortunately, they could be able to cast Greater Restoration again if needed, so they're just keeping an eye out.
Okay, so you're going with Loom and Artress. Kellen?
It's actually tough.
You see Jorhan kind of seeing these two groups split ways. Like one's going basically due west, one's heading more north where that statue is. And he kind of looks at you and just kind of like nods his head to where the former statue of Lady Alarm was. And is just kind of like, we could wait for them to come back.
And who's saying this to me?
This is a Jorhan. Could be equidistant.
That sounds good, if that's what you think. I mean, I was actually thinking... He kind of like lowers his voice a bit, and he's like, we're going to need to figure out a way to protect the people that we care about, or we're never going to get this thing done. If Arjus is always focused on what might happen to his mother, and I'm always worried about Pyrea, how are we supposed to go on?
A very complicated look goes over his face for a moment. And as well as you know yourself, it is not a look you are familiar with.
Can I insight check it?
Yeah, go for it.
Well, I'm trying to like time in my head line up with the different words I said, because Kellen's wondering if it's related to talking about Pyrea.
Okay.
Oh, that is not good. That's only an 11.
Yeah, it's difficult to pick out like any specific word that has kind of set it off, but you think it has something to do with like you're talking about protecting people, like kind of like from the first word, this complicated look was on his face, and it just maintained through what you said. With an 11, I can't give you more. Sorry. But he kind of nods for a bit and is like, well, that makes sense. Have to kind of prioritize our priorities. Honestly, my top priority right now is kind of the big, massive open gate behind us that is open. If you know what I mean.
Well, maybe we should see if we can do something about that.
Maybe.
Helen like stares at himself for a second and then just starts walking towards the gate.
Yeah, it's almost simultaneous where like you just meet your eyes. You notice he does look pretty worn out. So like it's kind of like he's not snapping as quickly as he normally would when you talk to him. So like as you turn to move, like it's like it kicks him into gear and he's like, oh yeah, we're moving. And he also turns to move. So I want to resolve this first with Ardris, and then we'll go to Kellen, and then we'll go to the house group.
Sounds good.
So Ardris, Micah, and Loon, you make your way towards this statue that Kellen pointed out. And Loon can take you exactly where it was because they were walking together. And you notice it is a statue of Etienne, your mother's personal guard.
I will. You said earlier there was rubble on the ground. Is that correct?
The rubble is over next to the gate.
Is petrified stone and regular stone rubble like the same, or is there like a difference?
I think with all of the experience you've had, you would know if someone is petrified, they can then be shattered into rubble. You would, if you inspected the rubble more clearly, could maybe see if it could be pieced together into like a statue kind of shape, but from a distance, you wouldn't necessarily know.
I will begin the process to unpetrify this gentleman.
Okay.
So mark off the second dose. So I think you're down to one more dose.
I have one, or do I have two or three? I have two.
If I remember correctly, you had one left over from when Bim created it the first time, and then Bim handed you two further doses. I'm not sure if you kept all three on your person, but I know that you had three total.
Okay, so we're down to one.
I'm not sure.
So I think
we'll be down to one.
Correct. So again, it takes about 10 minutes. Etienne is in a very defensive position with his sword raised, and he also has a shield on his arm. His shield raised up and the sword out. And after about 10 minutes, he is not nearly as graceful as your mother is coming out of it. He immediately stumbles / lunges forward before kind of getting his bearings. When he realizes that he almost attacked you, he looks equal parts ashamed and terrified.
Please, Etienne, your behavior is honestly a good thing. I'm not entirely sure what happened here, but it shows you were willing to defend my family too. Then, there's a debt to be paid for the rest of our lives, I suppose.
Yeah. Lauren, your Lady Lauren, is she?
He is resting in the home. She is fine.
Okay, I must, and he immediately goes to walk towards the home, and then his leg just buckles underneath him, and he ends up going to the ground.
We'll go and help him to his feet.
No, I'm sorry.
There's no need to apologize. Take your time. And we'll have to check to make sure that there's no one else in need of aid here. I will help you first.
Does it look?
I don't remember much. It was Lady Lauren, myself, and Emmerich came with us. It was very rushed because Lord Lauren. I don't know if you know, Lord Lauren went to the Gorgon Empire to wage war. So we were sent here.
The war has concluded. We were victorious, and the Emperor has been obtained.
Oh, how long was I out? You can see like his eyes widen a bit in panic at the idea that he's been out for an entire war's length.
It isn't nearly as long as you are beginning to believe. I will explain everything to everyone. It was quite a chaotic few days.
just to clarify, does it look like Tien's injured, or is it just recovering or something?
He does actually have a few injuries. He's got a few what look like claw marks raked. Part of them are gouged into his shield. Part of them are into his shield arm and upper chest. And he's got a fair number of like bruises, cuts, and scrapes on various parts of his body that you can see. So it does look like he actually did see some fighting prior to being petrified.
All right. In that case, Micah will step forward and be like, hold still. And they'll attempt to place their hand on Tien's wrist and provide a cure wounds, which they get for free due to their whatchamacallit. So we a D8, I think. Yeah, D8.
I got free cure wounds on deck. Okay.
Well, that's the wing thing. You get a free cure wounds up front.
That's dope. That's dope.
It is dope. It's funny because for as fairly non-threatening as you are as a child, Etienne flinches a bit as you reach out, and it is only because Ardris is kind of holding him that he doesn't move completely out of the way.
Oh, interesting. All right. 9 hit points back.
Very nice, very nice. You watch as the major wounds close and a lot of the bruises advance in stage. So they're no longer deep purple, but are now like a yellowing kind of color, you know, that like next to last stage of bruise healing. Mm-hmm. It seems like you've done quite a bit of healing for it. Oh, thanks.
You're welcome.
Sorry.
No apologies needed.
Yeah, and he kind of like again tries like force himself up pretty straight and to walk on his own. He's still limping a little bit. You think it's not necessarily from a wound, but more from the petrification. Like he's just stiff. But he does try to emulate on his own to get to the house instead of having to lean on Airline over here.
If I believe that he can make it on his own, I will go and check on the other pile of rubble that we passed.
Okay. Loom looks at you, Micah, and goes, wow, that was an interesting trick.
Ooh.
Is that new? I mean, it's only been a few days, a week. Time is a little weird right now. It's been a relatively short amount of time since the last time I saw you, and I don't remember you being able to do that then. Could you?
No. I don't think so.
Amazing. You're quite the prodigy.
They pause as if they're trying to understand how to interpret a compliment like that. Kind of like, not full blue screen to death, but like, how do you address this? And then they look back and say, thank you.
Of course. Only the rightful acknowledgement of the growth that you've seen. Absolutely amazing. Are you... Actually, Loom will ask this. I was going to ask you, but Loom will ask you. So, are you going to the house with, I didn't get his name. That one kind of nods towards the elf that you know as Etienne.
When balance is restored, will return to house.
I'm going to be incredibly honest with you, young Micah. I have no idea what that means. Is it a yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. If you're going to go to the house, then I'll go with Ardris to make sure that he doesn't get lost on his way to the house. Sound like a plan?
I see. Well, you watch him for me.
I will protect him with my life, Micah.
They nod and says, I will go now.
Okay. Just stick close to Ed. Sorry, he doesn't know the guard's name. Stick close to this elf, okay?
I will.
Okay. And he'll watch them go and make sure that they're with Etienne and that they're heading in the right direction before following Ardris. Skip over to Kellen for a little bit because y'all will be at the gate for a while before Ardris shows up. So Kellen's squared are at the gates. What are you gonna do?
Along the way, he would just really quickly kind of be like, so, my friends told me the strangest thing recently. It was Miri, actually.
Oh?
Yeah. Maybe that I don't get enough sleep, and he'll kind of do the, like, double glance at OK while he's saying this.
Yes, well, it's clear that you've been through very interesting times lately. And gives you a little bit of a glare. Like, not a heated one, but, like, he's clearly casting aspersions at you.
What did someone else tell you that I obviously didn't do? Whatever it was.
Well, I gotta make a roll real quick. Oh. So you don't know? Okay. Yes, I have not gotten a lot of sleep lately. I mean, mostly due to the apocalypse and also just like lots of travel. Lots and lots of travel. But yeah.
It'd be very exhausting going around trying to patch all the holes on the boat.
Yeah, especially when you're not entirely sure what kind of boat you're in, or where the holes are, or who you can trust to help you, or what kind of materials there are. I mean, honestly, I feel like I'm stretching the limits of this metaphor, but generally, all things unknown, yes, it's very exhausting.
So what did I do? Can you not sleep when I'm sleeping? Is that some sort of weird paradox?
No. Okay, tell me straight. Have you, at any time in the last, I don't know, since you last saw me, experienced things again?
Yes. But now I need to clarify something with the DM so I can make sure that he says the right thing next. There was a couple of times where I've experienced one loop, right?
Mm-hmm.
There was only one time where I experienced a series of multiple loops where I started to panic, like, holy, this might not fix itself, until it finally fixed itself, right?
I think every time you've experienced it has been a single loop.
There wasn't one that was multiple times.
Let's see.
I'm remembering I think the time in the Hall of Mages happened a couple of times. But I could be wrong.
Conceivably, it could have happened twice, but generally speaking, it would happen one at a time.
Okay, so he would say, yeah, generally, but it's odd. It normally only happens one loop backwards, which is generally all that I do is one loop backwards.
And you haven't had it in the last few days?
No.
I have.
Oh.
Yeah, so it turns out one of us loops time, both of us loop time for that 6 seconds. So when I figured out, I've been trying to not do that because I didn't know how it would mess with what you're doing. Also, I had this really weird experience where I almost lost my mind, sort of.
Oh, like you found out the vice chancellor is a vampire. Sort of almost lost your mind.
No.
Oh, no. You mean the other kind. Oh, that's bad.
Honestly, I just kind of want to follow that thread for a little bit. Say again?
Yes, well, it seems that I was highly suspicious of the vice chancellor because, to be honest, he's kind of a suspicious guy, and I couldn't figure out why he kept smiling at weird times and stuff. And then I found out that it's because he's a vampire and can do some sort of weird vampire transformation where he goes like mega vampire instead of human. And like, he does like the sort of limbs out, like, sort of thing. He's like, which honestly explained some of the other things, asked a bunch of more questions, but honestly didn't do a whole lot towards, making me trust him more. Although I suppose saving our lives did have some bonuses there.
I feel like we are on the last page of a very long and complicated book, and you've skipped almost every step before that page. But if you could just, hit me with that Tensor's floating disk pitch and give me 30 seconds of
So we were in the Hall of Mages, following our own business, when Micah decided to go back and see their dad, but not like the Chancellor, their mom and dad.
Wait.
Actual.
Okay, no, wait. You're keep going.
Their actual mom and dad from the previous life that they had, where their father killed them because they were too weak or something. So instead, they came back as exceptionally strong, I'll say, and went to go see them again with a plan of how to escape if they needed to, which they didn't explain to any of us, and honestly probably wouldn't have been reliably trustworthy anyway. So the vampire vice chancellor found out about it and decided that we should probably go save him, or at least he knew that we were going to go try to save them. So he was going to come with us anyway, but we went with this lady who was supposed to be trustworthy, and it turns out wasn't. Her name was Lady... What's her name again?
Savannah,
right? From the sort of carnival day. Did you have the carnival day? I guess maybe it doesn't really matter right now. Anyway, so she betrayed us. The vice chancellor defeated the emperor and also her somehow. Exceptionally impressive again. So basically they're not allowed to go on walks anymore, or at least we really shouldn't let them go on walks anymore. Oh, that fight between the Emperor and also the Lady Savannah was, when I found out about the whole vampire transformation thing.
Okay.
So did you get to go to the carnival? It was pretty fun.
It's been a few years. I mean, we had an orientation, of course, but been a while.
Nice.
Sure, it was fun.
So the whole chronalship thing. Should probably stop that, huh?
Not necessarily. Like if you need it, then you need it, right? Like it wouldn't make sense to have like all of these tools in your tool belt, and then you're just like, oh, I have another me, so I can't actually use any of them. Like that'd be pretty silly. Because if you die, who even knows? Should I die? Don't know.
I don't know the answer to that question. Although it feels like if I had to give that up, but for the purposes of having a doppelganger me that was, more knowledgeable and stronger running around, like I'd probably still give it up. But I see what you're saying about the toolbox too.
I mean,
I don't think we're very good with metaphors, honestly. We need to work on that.
I mean, we were taking a class, right?
Well, we were.
You were.
Right.
I feel like we're a little off track here because I did ask if you lost your mind, like in a very literal sense.
Well, do you mean when I got petrified?
Possibly. I don't know about this situation, so it is quite possible it fits within the parameters of what I'm discussing.
When did this happen? Was it X number of days ago at X time that I can repeat exactly with keen mind?
Yeah, it was X number of days ago at X time that he can also repeat back with you with keen mind.
Yeah. My bad. So that was really just part of the story since I've seen you. And the other story that came before that story was this story, and then he'll repeat the story of Miri after going to the seal, starting to become petrified, needing to save her, and then going there and, hearing sounds of fighting, going towards the sounds of fighting, finding the Medusa, and basically telling him everything.
I see. I mean, Bim kind of told Loom about some stuff, but I guess they were a bit hazy on what happened in the cave that you were in. The details
That's weird
were
because they were more confident than I'd ever seen them, really. I mean, like almost like superhero levels. It was crazy.
Huh. But they apparently didn't know at all that you were going to a war zone afterwards to follow Micah. So I feel like I've got maybe, I'm going to go with 16% of the story so far.
That seems right.
I feel like that's about right. I think about this time, y'all probably discussed enough, like standing in front of the gate, that Ardris is now coming out and Loom's not too much further behind him. So you can now see Ardris moving among these trees. It is very dark, so you are lit up with your light. Interestingly enough, Jorhan is not lit up.
What on earth are you two doing over there?
Oh. He looks at Ardris, looks at the gate. We were going to see what we could do about the gate.
Pretty much. I mean, technically, we were going to just... Well, I guess it doesn't matter. We were going to see what we could do about the gate.
Right. All right. Does the gate seem broken, or is it just open?
It seems physically unbroken and physically open.
You attempted to just close it.
Oh.
I hadn't gotten there yet.
Why didn't I think about that? Close the gate.
Right. I'm going to go and check on something. I'm gonna go do what I was trying to do in the first place.
Yeah. It's not very far from the gate, this rubble is. In fact, you think that it is probably broken because of its proximity to the gate. So as you're entering the rubble, you can pretty easily see where the light is coming off of Kellen as they go about literally physically closing the gate, which, Kellen, can you give me a strength check real quick?
I certainly can.
Believe in you, Kellen. You can do this.
15.
Not bad. Not bad. What's your plus for
Duran's gonna get
strength?
like a what 0? Natural level.
Oh, even with the armor on?
Yeah, I mean it's stealth armor.
Oh, okay, right.
Joran got a 14. So between the two of you, you actually end up doing a pretty good job moving it. You think at one point, even though you haven't mentioned Otto yet, as you're like heaving against this very large gate, like parts of your Otto backpack vest situation come out to kind of anchor you, so you can like use them as leverage as you pull. And you see Jorhan give you like a little like eyebrow, but he's kind of focused on trying to match you plus Otto to get the other half of the gate closed. Hey, we should definitely talk about that when I get finished here, or whatever.
Kellen nods, but he's also kind of focusing right now, like.
Yeah, it takes you just a little bit of time, and you're able to physically get the gate pulled to. It's got a lock mechanism on it that is not familiar to you. So, did you want to practice, or
Can I try to pick it closed? Is that a thing you can do with a lock?
you can reverse pick a lock? Would you like to try to do it?
Yeah, I would.
Excellent. I'm going to say that Jorhan is actively helping you, so roll with advantage.
Excellent. Oh my god. With Jorhan helping me, that is a 3 plus 3 for a 3 plus 5 for an 8.
Wow.
I rolled a natural 1 and a 3.
Oh my gosh, Zach. No.
Please let him do it so poorly that the gate actually opens again. Closes.
There is a moment where it does start to slide open, and Jorhan just reaches over you and grabs both of them. It's like, no. And pulls them back shut. Perhaps I can show you how it's done so that you can do it next time.
Elvish locks would seem to be more your talent after all.
I mean, in this get-up, I guess you are correct. And he is also going to try to do this. Oh my god. So I just rolled my second natural 20. So with a natural 20, yeah, he does. I will say with a natural 20, he's able to do it in a teaching manner. So he's able to not only lock it, but to show you each step that he's doing in order to do so. So he's like, okay, here's how you have to hold the tension on it. Here's where the pins are held. But you can see that this actually has double pins, blah, 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 blah. Like, I don't know enough about locks to satisfactorily make this crap up, but like, he's able to explain it to
They
you.
do whatever.
I think Kellen would be silent the whole time, like soaking it all in, trying to remember and file it away with keen mind. Like, how do I do this again if I need to do this? Until the very end when OK's like, and that's basically about it. And he would be like, wow, I am good.
Well, I've had years of practice, so I better be good at this point.
Nice.
Be kind of a terrible savior of humanity from an apocalypse coming back in time if I couldn't navigate a lock on a gate.
Have you, he would like whisper at this point, have you had to pick a lot of Elvish locks? I promise not to tell Argers.
He whispers back, well, if Argis doesn't know, then he still won't know.
He nods.
You feel like the gate is physically locked.
See, I get you, but you keep saying it that way.
Well, I just
Are we
I
actually-
don't want there to be unreasonable expectation on this gate. It is a gate that is physically locked. That is a true statement.
Are we picking up on anything, or are you just speaking specifically because you're the DM and you want to be explicit?
A little bit of both. As you lock it, you think about that this place was warded against teleportation, against a whole bunch of other things that are magical or even physical intrusions that have some sort of effect. At present, there doesn't seem to be anything that is securing this gate other than a physical lock, which could be sufficient. It depends on what you need. So if no one else is going to attack you, a physical lock's perfectly fine. If soldiers are going to attack you, physical lock's perfectly fine. If you think that someone's going to teleport in order to do something, you don't know if this is a potential weak point.
Hey, Ardris.
Argus, you're looking at the rubble not too far away. As you look down, it does appear to be previously a statue. You find some fingers and an ear.
Oof.
Disturbing. Do I think it is within the realm of realistic possibility to collect the pieces of this statue? Just I have to find the tiny, minute pieces, that like a jigsaw puzzle that's been thrown over, or can I find the pieces?
When you look at this, you think that it was probably shattered twice. Once with an initial kind of toppling where it was maybe in larger pieces, but it looks like it had also been stepped on or stomped on. And those small or minute pieces would probably be physically impossible to jigsaw your way together.
Do I feel like I know who this person was?
Make a perception check.
No.
I will let you do investigation because you are literally physically looking at this.
I rolled it. Do I have?
Do not roll a natural 20.
I rolled a 2. I don't think I have anything for this. Oh, wait, does the sword do anything for this? I'm going to use the once per day thingy to reroll. I think that's how this works. All right, well, that's a 13. All right, well.
13 total or 13 on the dice?
13 total.
Oh, Loom is also there as well, right? Could Loom have been helping him?
Yes. I'm not sure what that looks like, but Loom is generally a helpful character. So, yeah, he's also kind of trying to sift through the rubble, look for pieces that would be more easily recognizable. Go ahead and roll it again for the advantage.
I think Loom could also be looking for rings, jewelry, things that would be identifying potentially
Okay, 2 things. I rolled an 18, and then I rolled a 16 on the corresponding saving throw thing for the sword.
Oh, hold on. I gotta look at that. I gotta open up Discord. You rolled 16, you said?
Mm-hmm.
I think with the 16 you're good, aren't you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a 15 DC.
Okay. So it's an 18 total?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Loom finds a larger chunk of hand, and as he turns it over, you see a fairly simple looking ring, but on the inside, if you turn the hand palm, so you're looking at the palm side, there's a small design on it that does appear familiar to you.
All right, so DM, I feel Argus has been here before, so I need a very specific answer to this next question.
Okay.
In hundreds of feet, how big is this place?
It is hundreds of feet. The house itself is fairly large. Let's say that, roughly speaking, this place is 200 feet in diameter. and roughly circular. No one mapped that out because that could be just a ridiculous number, but that's what I feel like it is in my soul.
I didn't do very well in geometry and trigonometry, so I'm gonna cast Private Sanctum to create a cube at 5th level, to create a cube that is 200 feet on one side. I don't know if that's enough to cover this place in Private Sanctum, but
yeah, that will it will inscribe the circle. Yes. Because it's 200 feet in diameter, it will cover the whole perimeter. Yeah. That is
before this, right?
Rad. Mm-hmm. That is rad. Like the idea of putting a private sanctum over your sanctum, your secret haven is just so cool. Yeah. So as you guys have finished,
I put up all of them, but the foggy can't see through part because you wouldn't be able to see out of it if I did that.
Okay. So as you guys have finished kind of pulling the gate to locking the gate, you're starting to think about, is this strong enough? You just see Ardris emanate this private sanctum cube that inscribes the entire circle. Inscribes, whatever. It surrounds the entire circle, and in fact goes 200 feet up. Can you remind me all of the properties that Private Sanctum has besides the foggy bits?
Okay, so actually I ended up casting at 6th level, but what it does, let me get the thingy. Sound can't pass through at the edge of the watered area. Sensors created by divination spells can appear inside the protected area or pass through the barrier. Creatures inside the area can be targeted by divination spells. Nothing can teleport into or out of the watered area. Planar travel is blocked within the watered area. And then there's the area looks dark and foggy, preventing vision, but we didn't do that one.
Did you upcast for that, like with the book, or was that a spell slot that you had? All right, go ahead and roll that.
Book because I don't think we long rested. I got a 97.
Very nice. All right. Yeah, so that is amazing. Loom looks consideringly at you as you do this. And then as he straightens up, he goes, well, Mr. Lauren, my condolences. Are we ready to go back to the house?
It's been a long day.
Plenty of those to go around, unfortunately.
Are the Kellans still playing with the door?
The Kellans have finished playing with the door. I'm not sure what they are doing in the meantime.
I think we were asking, like, hey, Ardris, around the same time that Ardris was casting the Private Sanctum. So imagine, like, that sort of magic that you can see is very complex and starts happening. And so Kellen would probably go, Ardris, never mind.
You hear that in surround sound as Shorehad does pretty much the exact same thing.
Are you two finished with the door, with the gate?
Yes, we were going to say that someone should put some enchantments up, but, you know.
I considered crafting something, but, I mean, I think your solution's better, really. Taller, at least.
It'll hold for now, I suppose. We'll have to have someone more experienced redo everything that was here, but for now, let's go and get some rest.
Right.
I'm going to try to go back last.
As in, you are at the back of the party moving? Okay. Jorhan is going to try to keep pace with you, but if you're obviously trying to be in the back, like, he's not going to make a big deal about it. We'll just get on with it.
I think I can trust myself not to rat on myself. Kellen intends to take a finger from the pile and put it into his bag of holding.
Oh. Okay. Make a sleight of hand check.
Can I do so while either like trying to go stealth or trying to do so with advantage?
Roll stealth, and if you're successful in stealth, we'll say DC 15. Then we'll do advantage for sleight of hand.
Yeah, I'm successful.
Be so disrespectful. Because always so disrespectful to my house.
What I just like you can say whatever you want to say, but it's literally being respectful. It's the exact opposite of what you're thinking.
That's by God. You're stealing.
That is. Sorry, I'm looking up the 14.
Or which one? For the stealth?
No, for the sleight of hand. The stealth was like a +9 at advantage, so it was high enough that you said DC 15, and I just didn't even bother you with like the 25.
Very nice. So you rolled with advantage on the sleight of hand?
I did, yeah, and got a 14.
Okay. You take me. Well, you take like a hand.
Yeah.
Yeah. Might have a ring on it. Okay, you put it in your bag of holding. You get a bit of a frown from Jorahan, but he also trusts himself enough to ask you questions later instead of asking you questions now. So he didn't say anything.
He would actually try to whisper something if I can.
Yeah.
With a 25 on my stealth.
Yeah.
He would whisper, "Argus has given up. I haven't."
He would whisper back, "Okay, let me know what I can do." You cat, stop biting me! Ow. All right, you make it back to the house with no further incident. You don't see any other statues or rubble or signs that anyone else is here. Loom, while you're walking, says that they did do a pretty thorough perimeter check of the inside while they were waiting for you, because they've actually been here for over a day, because they thought you were coming directly here and not to Vabana. So he lets you know that between him and Jorahan, like, those were the only three evidence of other people that they had seen still here.
Well, that would mean that it was not another person, right?
What?
Well, if you've only seen evidence of you all being here as other people and something happened to Argus's mother, then that means it wasn't a person, right?
Oh, well, she was already a statue before we got here. Like, she didn't become a statue after we got here.
They mean since they've gotten.
Yeah. Yeah, because, like, you did just close a gate and, like, lock it real good and then put up a private sanctum without going around the perimeter. So they're trying to let you know that, like, they have actually scoped it out and they don't believe anyone else is here with you.
That makes sense. So then Kellen would ask, did you check for signs of people moving through the house? I mean, you checked, were they here for something instead of someone, perhaps?
Loom speaks up at this point. It's like, well, actually, it was, the house was locked up when we got here. And considering we were expecting you in a matter of minutes to hours, we didn't actually go into the house. But we didn't see any sign through the windows or anything that anyone was there currently. I wouldn't really know the inventory of this kind of place to know if something were missing. But it's not a bad idea.
You keep anything here that someone may have wanted? Argers?
I know if anything is missing.
As you think about like what this place is and what people use it for, generally there's not a lot kept here that isn't like brought with your family. So your mom might have brought something of some sort of like importance. But in terms of like things that stay here, you can't think of anything like there's a lot of provisions here for if you needed to stay here for a long time. It's not really anything of value.
I also have a cultural question, if that's okay. Do the elves look at us strangely when we refer to Argers as Argers? Like, am I like do I get the sense that I'm being impolite every time that I do that? Or do they acknowledge that our relationship might be different than their relationship to him, so it's fine? It's just something I thought of that's like would be happening in the background, and I have no idea if I get like dirty looks every time I'm like, what's up, Argers?
It's more like wonder. Every person that you've met has referred to him as Erlarin.
Right.
And when you refer to him as anything other than Erlarin, and he's cool with it, like, people are generally mystified, especially since you're all tiny children, like, from an elf perspective especially. Like, yeah. They are in wonder, basically, that a bunch of infants are running around calling the Erlarin, like, by his given name. So less dirty looks, more just like,
Surprise and wonder. Got it.
It's beautiful. Unfortunately, there shouldn't be anything special here, but it's impossible that my mother brought something with her. We'll find out soon enough, I suppose. Based on the state of things, do I get the feeling that like the house itself still works? Like this was a modern day house, with like the refrigerator and plumbing still be running. You know, would the wine still be chilled? You know, for rich people. But then he will again to get the things that would generally be expected. You know, have a moment of normalcy, I guess.
Okay. We will jump to that point when you guys arrive at the house, but we're going to rewind time for just a little bit for the group that has been in the house for a little bit. So, Otis, Miri, you are with Lady Alarin.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, you're the only three people in this house. You get to the house, and the door opens for her. She does not appear to need a key.
That's cool. Also, they just let us walk into the house without actually looking in the house.
Pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
You're locked with whatever else is in here with you.
We got
if you're going to make that their problem or yours, I don't know yet. But like, she just kind of pushes on the door and makes it look like it's just a swinging door, and holds it open for you as you follow behind her. It looks not too different from their kind of diplomatic home in the capital, except for there isn't that glass everywhere vibe. Okay. Instead, it's lots and lots of breaks in visual continuity. So at their house in the capital city, like you can see everywhere all the time. You know what I mean? You can see through the house to the garden, see the large tree, see the stairs, blah, 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 blah. Here, like you can only ever see really where you are. I mean, it's designed to be very compartmentalized. But when you do walk in, like in their home, as you get past the foyer, there is also a tree here in the middle that grows up to the center. And near it is, you can see something that looks very similar to their dining table back at their diplomatic home.
Okay. Oh, it looks a little similar to the other house, but not a lot of things to... I couldn't see a garden or anything. Is there anywhere you'd like to go lay down, or...
I am not looking forward to those stairs, but and you'll notice there's only 2 floors here, not 3. The other house has 3. This one only has 2. I might just... There's a guest room downstairs that I might use, but where are my manners? You must be tired yourselves, hungry, thirsty. The kitchen is this way.
Oh, I mean, I'm okay right now, I guess. And she kind of like looks at Otis and it's like, ooh.
Well, Otis ain't gonna turn down food.
And to be fair, it's been a while since you last ate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's been like since breakfast. No, since like
Probably
it's been a
did it
while.
before.
It's been a while since you last ate. Yeah, you're probably running on fumes right now.
Yeah, you can see Otis is definitely excited to eat, but he's not saying anything because you're looking at Otis.
Yeah. I think Miri somewhat is pushing it out of her mind just because she knows what it felt like to be petrified after.
You also remember when you woke up, there was a lovely cup of tea brought by Yvain in order to help you kind of like orient. So you think maybe Lady Allard would take some comfort from like a warm drink.
Yeah.
Something with more texture or feel.
Otis, why don't you go see what's in the kitchen first, and I'll help Lady Allard to a room, or the room you said that was down here.
Hi. Otis makes his way toward the kitchen.
Normally I would have checked, but I'm feeling quite tired. So help yourself, of course.
Otis is already walking that way.
It's under the stair and begins to lead you to under the stairs where there is a room.
Okay.
In terms of guest rooms, like, the Allards just don't know chill. Like, this is a guest room under the stair. You would expect, like, a bed, maybe if they're feeling real fancy, like a bedside table. No, this is nice, well-appointed, large bed, like already made with like, looks like much more expensive bedding than you've probably ever had. And this is their safe house. This is their roughing it, Like, this is glamping turned up to 11.
Literally, Miri used to sleep in a wagon while it was moving.
Yeah. And she's like, please feel free. You can take any room that you desire. And if they're not to your standards, I'm sure we can get some. There's a cabinet.
Okay. We'll look around once Argis comes back, and you just relax right now, and I can find tea and a almond. I think that's what it was called. Drogon read it to me while I was out, I think.
Who is Drogon?
Well, he's one of the professors at the school.
Oh. Did you have... How were your classes together?
I didn't have classes with Drogon, but do you know what happened to the school?
I know that my husband was quite angry about something, angry enough to march off and to suggest that I come here. I'm not aware of the details, no.
Okay, this is going to take a little bit of time to catch you up, I guess, on everything that's happened. And so she'll like help her to the bed and then like sit on the other side.
Yeah.
And she'll just recount, at least to her best knowledge, of what's been going down.
See, the bad thing about all of these recaps is I just want to hear them because I'm so curious what that character thinks happened. Because every character says it very differently. You know what I mean? Like different things are important to each character. We'll say you get through part of it when Otis comes through carrying a tray. What's on that tray, Otis?
Otis is taking as much as he can reasonably carry. Like, Otis doesn't have scruples about what looks elegant, like what's a cold cut versus like wholesale, like a whole side of beef. He's bringing it.
So there's like a ham hock and like a loaf of, admittedly very like nice artisanal kind of bread, and random assortment of vegetables. Like a couple of fruits that are just precariously
like
balancing on the edge. Yeah. There's like a whole carrot, a whole stalk of celery, a couple of like apples and stuff. Did you bring anything to drink?
I mean, Otis technically could make it, but because I get up to 30 gallons of water with the use, but I didn't call it when I initially used it. I have 2 more charges on the charm. But Otis...
Well, there is water here. So you could bring water with you if you wanted, or if you wanted to, there's like a wood-burning stove that you could heat a kettle on if you wanted to bring hot drinks. There's also, if you look into the cellar, like different kinds of wines and juices and ales.
I don't know.
Otis would get water.
Mama Lauren should be a...
Otis would get water. In that way, Otis is a good boy.
It's nothing but Icelandic for the Alarans. You know, got that good pH, fancy spare bottle. Okay, so you bring him some water, and if she is surprised by anything you've done, you don't see it on her face.
Oh, really?
As she very happily says, well, thank you very much. I'll admit I'm pretty sorry I could not be a better host.
You're nicer than your son, I tell you that.
Oh, this.
Why?
Oh, has Audrey's been difficult with you?
Yeah.
The cat decided to take the computer with it.
I will take this stream by force.
No,
what were we talking about? I'm recovering from a cat.
You and Andres have had your own issues, but so far, whenever I was conscious, Andres has been nice. Although I think he needs to chill out sometimes.
She smiles a little bit as you say that, and then with a big yawn is like, well, are you often not conscious?
I think twice.
And by about the time that you finish whatever your next sentence is, she will be trancing.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Would Otis technically be familiar with it?
Yeah, you can both make an insight check.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
That's because the thing is, Otis sleeps normally, so anytime Ardris is tranced, I don't think Otis has seen it.
Miri has elven siblings.
Otis rolled a 3 for a total of, 11 for my insight.
Oh no, I rolled a 4.
Total of 12.
I got 14. Is my
We ignorant.
I mean, it looks like sleep. She's laying down in a bed. Her eyes are closed. Looks like sleep.
I mean, could Miri infer because she has elven siblings? That's like, maybe she's doing that weird thing that she saw them do a few times.
Otis is gonna overreact. Did she die?
No, she like looks down. I think she's breathing.
She's breathing. I would say with your elven siblings, what you know is that like when they trance, you often see them kind of, especially because they're very, very young elves. that they often are a little bit twitchy in their trancing. Like, it's not like sleep where it's fully unconscious.
Mm-hmm.
On the other hand, Lady Alara does not seem to be conscious. You don't know if that's like she's just old enough that like she's very like set into this routine structure and like she's just that controlled, or if she's like a very deep trance, or maybe just she's especially tired right now.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't appear to be necessarily unnatural to you. It does appear a little bit unexpected.
I think she's okay. She's not moving around a lot. I feel like Ardris maybe knows, but then it also would be weird because then he knows how his mother sleeps, and then that means that he's been watching his mom while she sleeps. But I don't think that he would do those kinds of things. So
I ain't gonna ask him.
Micah, you and Etienne have just made it to the door.
Would Otis hear that they arrived?
Well, they
That's
haven't made it inside yet.
Oh, okay.
Oh, we're here.
Oh, sorry. You wanna see a trick? You're a kid, right? Like, you look small. That's not rude, is it? Sorry, I'm just having a really bad day today.
Do you
Sorry.
what sleep?
Technically speaking, I don't sleep, but trancing is what we do, and it would probably help me feel better. Sorry.
I don't sleep. I can watch. And you rest.
You know what? That sounds pretty good, actually. Like, here, open the door.
Yeah, they'll head over and attempt to open up the door.
You don't see a doorknob.
They'll kind of turn their head to the side, jerk for a second, and then look up. No door. Pop.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to show you. Like, I can come in and Lady Alarin can come in, and Lord Alarin can come in, and Air Alarin can come in, but you have to be let in if you're anyone else.
I see.
And when he reaches forward, it just swings open.
Very nice. Why go outside? Place is safe.
Oh, we hadn't actually been here very long before. We didn't know that there was a problem.
I see.
I probably should have said no.
No fault of your own. It happens.
Respectfully, disagree. All right, leave and watch to you then, right?
I will watch.
Okay, you just yell if you need something, all right?
I will.
And he starts to stumble up the stairs, heading somewhere. You, Otis, and Miri, this is about the time that where you are in your literal conversation that you're having right now, that you can hear the door open, and you couldn't hear necessarily what Micah was saying, but you heard Micah's voice talking to another voice.
We're down here, kid.
Micah would turn around Michael would turn around. Is it the same direction that Tien is heading, or is it a different direction?
Etienne's going up the stairs. The voice that you heard was from under the stairs.
I was gonna ask if we hear footsteps going up the stairs by our door that we're in.
You don't hear it from inside the room.
Mm-hmm.
Because the rooms seem to be fairly soundproof.
Okay.
But it's not like they are unhearable steps or something. Like he's not like sneaking up. Like you could conceivably hear it. You're just not hearing it from like. There's no sound transference through the stairs into the room.
Okay.
In that case, Michael will head towards the room where they're remaining. See them inside. Tien?
You see a sleeping Lady Alarin with Miri perched on the end of the bed and a large tray of a very random assortment of vegetables, fruits, a whole thing of ham, and a very nice looking bread, and a jug of water.
So, curious, because Micah has seen Ardris trance when they stayed in the room together.
Mm-hmm.
Is it similar to that, or is it different?
Hey, Ardris, when you trance, do you normally trance sitting up?
Oh, we could hear you.
Yes. Ardris does it in a very stern,
sleeping like a horse,
military-esque way.
So you've seen him, like ramrod straight, perfect posture, sitting up when he trances. Arch's mom kind of looks like she's just sleeping, like she's actually laying out on the bed under the cover.
Mm. With that, they kind of turn their head to the side and make note of the difference in trans behavior. Since this is, I think, only the second time they've seen a trans before in front of them. And then they'll look towards Otis and Mary and says, "We rescued Tien. He is sleeping upstairs. Trance, not sleep. They sleep."
You rescued somebody else? Were they also, stone?
Yes.
Stone.
That was my first thought too.
Oh, it's like, yes, they were stone. Ardris used liquid, and now Tien is safe.
Oh, okay. Where is Ardris now? Since his mom is it's a weird trance, but I think it's like asleep also.
Ardris is with Bloom outside.
Okay. Then I guess we should leave her to do her thing. Otis, why did you bring a whole ham?
Well, during this time, Otis would actually not be focused on the conversation.
Okay.
Otis would be telepathically trying to communicate with Nazareth, which I assume is still on Micah's shoulder. Okay. Oh, you're muted, Aaron.
What do you say?
Hey, are you okay?
I'm okay. Are you okay?
Yeah, we got food now, whatever. Sleepy, though. You sleepy? You hungry? Wow, no response?
like you can see Nazareth at this range because Micah's in the room with you. And as you ask that, her head kind of goes to the side. I'm okay.
Can Odin, would that be a medicine check or insight check to determine if those are signs of fatigue or not being okay?
It sounds like you're wanting. It sounds. Ooh, I think you make a case for medicine or animal handling. Let's go with medicine. I think that's the closest to what you're saying that you want to know.
All right, you got it. Yo, most of the Otis's medicine checks have been low, but we gonna see. Okay, that's a dirty 20.
Hey.
Nazareth does not seem to be physically in any discomfort.
That's all Otis gets with a dirty 20.
You know, it's interesting. As you think about it, you think about Nazareth as the bird, and then Nadine, and then you think about Azrath, and then Nadine, and then Nazareth. And then when you cast the Find the Familiar and change Nazareth's shape and kind of like the evolving state of what Nazareth has become. And I think with the dirty 20, something that crosses your head is, does Nazareth need to eat? Does Nazareth need to sleep? Is Nazareth alive?
He did ask that before, but he kind of brushed it off as whatever. He asked that initially.
You think that maybe, you know Nazareth pretty well. You think that maybe there is a reason Nazareth's sticking with Micah right now?
Well, I don't know what business you got with the kid, but you got to make sure you take care of yourself still.
I am okay.
Yeah,
you are okay?
I was like, I'm figuring things out. You know how it is. If something wrong, we always find each other and help each other out. It's how it's always been.
We help each other out.
And probably at that point, Otis would have probably snapped into Mary gesturing to Otis and go, what?
I asked, why did you bring a whole ham for her?
I mean, you're hungry, you get food.
I don't know if now she's not really going to eat the whole ham, but could leave some of it here.
What's wrong with him?
They didn't say anything was wrong with them.
It's perfectly good ham.
I think maybe we haven't eaten, so maybe we should take the ham.
Yeah, you want to try eating something?
Yeah, but let's go out of the room and do that.
Oh. Hey, kid, you want to try eating something outside of the room?
I will watch. I do not eat.
I will watch.
Okay, I thought you might want to try something this time.
No, not purpose.
Professor Lou said I gotta be proper or whatever for the good company, and it's good manners to offer people food, right? Otis looks at me, right?
Yeah, it is.
So Otis will start gathering the food so he can walk out of the room.
As you begin to collect your things and head to the dining room table, this is roughly the time that the rest of the group will have made it to the door. So, sorry, Mike, was there something you wanted to do as that was happening?
Oh, no, just Michael was just turning their head curiously at that, but that's pretty much it.
You watch as on Micah's shoulder, Nazareth is mimicking a lot of the head turns.
Yeah.
Mike stole his bird.
I do anything. I do anything.
Hey, Otis trusts Nazareth, so
Argus, you get to the door. Loom kind of gives it a once over and says, "Well, it doesn't appear to be trapped. On the other hand, it doesn't appear to have a door handle. So
Odd thing that you all do. And you're just going to instruct the door to open. Door handles are very inefficient.
I'm now picturing Argus as a small child in front of an automatic door at a grocery store doing like the Jedi hand wave. Where you're going, you won't need any doors. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No. You press on it and easy, smooth like butter. It opens up, no problem, and you're able to allow the other ones to come in. With Kellen at the rear. As you enter, you can see everyone else starting to gather around the dining table. There's a little bit of food, some water, and I think we will take a small break here as the party collects to decide what they're going to do next. As you gather at the table, you watch as Loom and Joran both take in their surroundings and end up in opposite ends of the table, fairly defensive positions. But otherwise, they seem willing to follow your lead about what you want to talk about. Both of them look like they have quite a few questions, but they recognize it has been a trying day, perhaps, so they're trying to be a little bit more gracious with allowing you to kind of set the pace.
You all just grab whatever food you saw around here.
Well, your mom needed the stuff, so I'll just grab, I guess, other things that were around. But she's asleep, trancing something.
Fair enough. Do you all now wish to rest?
Otis is still eating.
It is about 8 o'clock at night, so it's a little bit early in the night. You would still stay up and talk for a little bit if you wanted to prior to needing to bed down. Or you could turn in early and get an earlier start in the morning as the group decides.
Joran don't want to talk? Okay.
Joran kind of tiredly reaches forward and grabs like a piece of bread. Is kind of munching it and looking considerably like he's trying to take everyone in and fill out where is the party, where are you all kind of in your headspace. Eventually he will kind of speak up, or he starts to, and then Loom cuts him off and is like, well, Bim said that you're having an interesting time, a little bit light on the details. But apparently, Ms. Miri, you look better than I had last heard. I heard that you were somewhat petrified yourself.
Yeah, I was, but I did get better. Who is Bim again?
Bim is one of the professors at Rivenwood, one of the ones that recommended that you, that I speak to you about perhaps following a more dexterous career.
Oh.
Yeah, we both noted quite a bit of talent in you and Mr. Kellen, and some more. Well, it's a possible avenue. You have clear talent.
I just didn't know when they did that.
You might have met them during the scavenger hunt. I feel like you all went to get the Tinkerist tools and were escorted by them. I'm not sure how much you really saw them after that. They tend to stick in the, you might call it a laboratory.
I used to visit them in their office.
Sorry?
I used to visit them in their laboratory.
Yeah. I guess you didn't bring Miri along.
Huh? I'm sorry, I was trying to do math in my head. What? Bring Miri where? Oh, to Bim's. No, sorry.
Luke looks at Jorhan like, what's up?
Bim is a professor, and they are very kind and very effective when they put their minds to it.
Aaron
What is it that you needed when you came to look for us?
Well, the last time we saw you, you were escaping Vabana on the back of a... Well, okay, the last time I saw you, I don't know about the last time that Jorhan... We're calling you Jorhan now, right? Because it feels weird to call you... Okay. The last time I saw you, you were leaving Vabana on the back of a dragon, and then we passed out for a little bit in a... Well, like the... He kind of gestures generally in the direction of the ceiling to indicate the private sanctum that you put up. When you went to do something with a seal, and then we got separated, unfortunately, because we were attacked, but you made it here, which is good. I've been trying to ensure that that was in fact the case, talked to Bim a little bit, but I guess I have a lot of information to share with you and about 1 million questions.
Well, begin sharing your information.
Miri?
She was basically going to say, like, well, we better do that before we all pass out to go to sleep.
Otis?
Whatever.
Did you have something you wanted to do?
Oh yeah, I did. Well, Otis did. But you already answered the question, so it's moot. Because Otis was gonna see if he could infer how much Alfred Loom knows about the Jorhan situation.
Loom knows what you guys told him previously, and then he hasn't yet told you about how they met up and what's going on with that.
Okay.
Okay. Well, it seems like we both have a ton of information to get through. So let me think about how to put this concisely. Based on the information that you gave me about the seals, I've been doing some research, reaching out to some trusted contacts. Unfortunately, most of the people that I would actually trust are otherwise engaged. But that has just led to me needing to do some footwork. So I've traveled quite a bit. I actually ended up meeting Jorhan here on my way through. You may know the place, Twist Junction. I think you mentioned that you had been there. I was aware.
Oh,
No, it's not a problem. I was aware you told me there was a seal nearby there, considering you had checked that one. I was kind of generally checking what you'd already told me so I could make some inferences from that. Met up with Jorhan there, who gave me some very interesting information. But mostly I've just been trying to find information about what's going on across the continent, given that you have these 7 interesting locations and they appear to be having an effect on things. Your turn. Bim was unclear. So apparently you arrived in Theratomia, did not stay at the Hall of Mages with the other students, but instead went to House Lauren. And then Miri was petrified there.
But she ain't no more.
And she ain't no more. However, what is confusing to me is the bits where she was petrified in the first place, and also how did she come to not be petrified? And then, following that, where did you go that was not here? Because I was expecting you would be here, a little while ago, actually.
Fortunately, exactly the cause of Mia's petrification is not currently known. We don't know that, right? We still haven't figured that out. No.
The checks that have been rolled so far, we're just not sure.
Oh, it's on the list to discover later. But we were fortunately able to find an old ruin where we came across a few gorgons and things like that. After that, I had intended to come here as quickly as possible, but due to unforeseen events, we found ourselves taking a short trip over to visit the Empire, where we brought the war to a quick end, and then we made our way here.
Okay, I will need you to clarify what war you're referring to.
But, well, it appears that during our initial... the name of that city was...
Vabana.
Vabana. I keep thinking of Ventrida, but Vabana. During our initial trip to Vabana, we had me and the Emperor did not quite get along, and that disrespect was enough to urge my father to declare war on them, of course. So, naturally, the conflict began. Due to an event that we did not foresee, we found ourselves teleporting directly into the heart of the Empire, where the Vice Chancellor, who is apparently a vampire,
Yes.
I feel that should have been on the missives, but that is a separate conversation. We were able to defeat the Empire, and relatively easily, though there was a betrayal of Lady... what's her name?
Sylvana.
Who was roundly relieved of her position. After that, we returned to my father, who we had notified that the war was effectively over, and then we came here.
While you were speaking, Jorhan looks nervous, worried about the war talk. Doesn't appear to have any particular reaction to the whole Vampire Vilheim or the Lady Sylvana news. But when you talk about my father decided to wage war, blah, 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 like, he looks worried. Loom looks completely, absolutely fine until you say Lady Sylvana betrayed us. And then you see him frown as well. But it is a calculating kind of frown.
Does Otis pick up on Jorhan's like facial expressions?
You pick up on what I just told you.
All right, Otis is then pointedly going to look at Jorhan, not saying anything.
Otis, if you have something to say, I think you ought to just say it. It's kind of hard for me to read your mind. I've got two of them, and neither of them know what you're thinking.
That could be a good thing or a bad thing, depending on how you look at it.
Yeah, but you're kind of glaring daggers at me right now.
Oh, he's not glaring daggers. Like it's not a sense of aggression. It's definitely intense observation. You'd be like, what you hiding?
Staring daggers at me. It's not hiding when I'm not entirely sure how any of it actually goes together, technically.
So all this is news to you or something?
Well, Otis, you have to remember, in my timeline, none of this happened. We all handled a bunch of stuff much later in life, as it were.
Was there no battle with Verbana and here?
Well, that's a little bit tricky, Micah, because like by the end of it, a lot of places were fighting, but all of the beginning is very different. Like time's pretty strange. It's very difficult to say where like one thing actually stops and the next thing starts. So I'm not sure if this is the beginning of what I experienced, like the overall kind of conflict everywhere, or if this is just the way your timeline worked. I'm also not sure on the tenses here.
Do you know who or what I am?
You're Micah. You're incredibly talented. You're a good friend. You're the Chancellor's kid.
He doesn't know.
Otis is still studying Jorhan, and at that statement is looking for signs of withholding information or forms of deceit in those statements.
He stopped where he stopped for a reason.
You know more?
I mean,
Benefits no one to not reveal what you know at this stage.
listen, it's not like I'm trying to keep something from all of you. You are the people that I trust the most in either of my lives, and I'm not trying to deceive you. However, you have to realize I have an entirely separate life from this timeline. So I don't know if my knowledge is actually relevant at all. I don't know if it's the same even at all. And so I'm trying to speak to what I know is true for this particular circumstance.
No. Young Micah's other identity. It's a straightforward question. Either you do know it or not.
I know that the Chancellor adopted Micah after an unfortunate incident in their past.
Is that what happened?
Oh,
Still not answering the question.
Well, you gotta know this is the specifics that Otis is getting. What few specifics there are is new to Otis.
oh yeah, Otis doesn't know. I don't think most folks know that Michael was killed. I think the only person they told around was Yvain and Mary, I think. Maybe? I'm not sure. I can't remember.
I think. I know Yvain definitely.
Yvain definitely knows. I don't think. Oh wow. Okay.
Like, a lot of people know about the name Iwan,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't think anyone really knows about, like, your whole backstory.
Mm-hmm. Because Micah just referenced. Okay. So Michael will look over and say, well, I discovered that my father killed me. And I am now reborn as something different.
Otis says nothing, but you could, looking at Otis, you can tell he is very not happy with that news. Like, you see him tighten his grip on his staff, which he always keeps with him, and his facial expression is big frustrated.
Do I get the feeling that the other two knew this already?
Which
I
other
can't
two?
tell if Old Killen and Professor
Boom.
Loom. Yes. I can't tell if they were
Loom,
lying or didn't know.
roll insight.
Ooh, it'll be hard against Loom.
Need to play a wisdom character one of these days. That's a 4.
When you do, you'll wish that you were an int character. So
Accurate. I need all 20s and all stuff. I got 5 is my total.
For both of them, for Loom, you don't know him all that well. You haven't spent the time with him that other people have. So this isn't like the case of like, oh, you're bad at reading people or something. It's more like you just don't know this specific person's baseline well enough to try and like really make an educated guess. The affect that he has is not one of surprise. So you think maybe he wasn't surprised. Through this whole conversation, Jorhan has looked pretty just conflicted. Like you're asking him for information that he's not sure is his to give. He's not sure if it's true in this reality. Like, so you're seeing more of that still where like, it's not necessarily like you don't see anything that looks like surprise to you, but like his overall demeanor is one of like, he's trying to be very careful himself. You don't know how much of that would be into controlling his like facial features as well, and, like his expressions.
I discovered this when I visit my father at Verbana. I tried to stop the war. It failed.
I see.
I shouldn't do stuff like that. I shouldn't do stuff like that.
Who should not do things, Otis?
Pause. P-A-apostrophe-S.
Mary is gonna just put like a little hand on Otis's shoulder. And he says,
I mean, yeah, he left me home alone, but he never killed me.
Jorhan and Loom are both notably quiet during that statement.
Mary knows. You're keeping Otis calm for sure. Mary's keeping Otis calm for sure.
Otis, your passive insight's like 18, right?
Mm-hmm.
Jorhan doesn't look surprised by that statement either.
Oh, okay. So in that timeline, Otis would have talked. Okay, but Otis wouldn't figure that out.
Well, I mean,
he's not dumb, but
yeah.
That's a lot to infer. That's some big brain.
It's what you see. It's what you know.
Yeah.
Like you have to imagine like insight is a type of intelligence, right? Like it's not just being aware of something. Like you understand what it means. It's not just like you read the sign, you know the language. So like I think in terms of wisdom, you would understand the ramifications of that.
The question is how much will he be able to deduce based on that? But yeah, it's information he got. And he understands. Okay.
Jorhan looks at you, Micah. It seems to be weighing his thoughts pretty carefully. And then he looks at Kellen. Kellen, I don't know how much of this you knew as a character. What was your reaction to what Micah just said?
So I didn't want to interrupt, but now turning everyone's attention to him, Cullen is clearly not a participant in this conversation at all, and probably hasn't noticed that much of what has been said. He's been in his own head thinking about something else.
The rest of you see a little bit of a fond look on Jorhan's face as he realizes Kellen's not getting into this at all. And then he turns back to Mike and is like, I can't say with any degree of certainty whatsoever in a series of universes made random each. How much what I have lived and what you are living has any relationship whatsoever. But I will say, in my time, it played out a little differently, but I did get to see Merlara Goldbane ascend the throne, and after her, Alanis, which is the name of one of your sisters.
Mm-hmm. Would they know that? I don't think they would know
I don't know.
that.
I don't know if you know any of their names.
No,
Well,
No, there was that statue when we first got there.
Oh,
because of the statue, you know their names.
Okay, gotcha. I was like, wait a second, what they do? Okay. They turn, look down for a second in a jerky fashion, and then look up and return their gaze back as your hostess says, well, at least they lived there. That is good to know.
In my timeline, although you did not live in Babana, you were able to create something with the Goldbanes, as well as the family that you have had, will have, and the friends that you made. I'm one of them, to be very clear.
There is a small spread of a smile on their face before it's kind of like yanked away and back to normal. Almost like an expression is tried to spread and then is pulled back immediately. And they nod and says, I see. That is what happened. I can answer questions if you have some.
Otis will wait. Otis wants to talk to Micah, but Otis is going to actually wait for time with less people around.
Loom speaks up. It's like, all right, if no one else is going to ask, then I will. Why did you think you ought to go into an active war zone? Like, especially on your own? I feel like...
They did what they want.
Hey, I am speaking right now. At Rivenwood Academy, we were very clear that the purpose of a party is to support and help and protect each member. You went to how many classes that were specifically about working with your party? Like outside of all of the other educational and very important classes like speech. You had your classes on magical offense and defense and support classes, and you worked with your party, and then you left them by yourself. Why?
You see Micah eyes dart to the side, almost as if they don't have the answer. And then slowly you start to see like their eyes start to adjust, where the almost automaton type nature is like pushed back a bit, and there's a little bit more humanity in their eyes, but just a second. And as that appears, they look towards Professor Loom. And their voice also adjusts and says, oh, I have time now. Okay. I was trying to do what I want. I like. I try to see what felt right by me, and and you just see just again as they try to speak, suddenly that humanity is kind of pulled away, and then the face returns back to a more automaton nature. It says, "They don't know."
Okay. They don't know. But surely you had people around you who could know.
It was an error and mistake. It was corrected.
I see. Very interesting. Your mistakes are now rectified, is that it?
Yes.
And your mother?
I don't know.
I do know. But I would like to talk to Micah about it, if you don't mind.
Micah is safe.
Interesting. Does Micah believe that they are safe?
They nod without saying anything.
Well, can you promise on your and Micah's behalf that you will not be leaving the premises in the middle of the night tonight?
Of course, we are agent of balance. We will make sure balance is restored. That was not balance.
And what's your name?
I have no name.
Well, I'm going to have to call you something. Can't call you Micah, that's for sure. Something about balance. How about just Lance? C, maybe? B.
C works.
All right, C. You don't run off with our tiny companion. We can talk more later about this balance.
Of course.
Over C's head, Loom gives this incredulous look. First at Jorhan, and then at Ardris, and he's a subtle man. So it's not like, cartoon character like, oh my gosh, what's going on? But the way his eyes widen, he's very clearly projecting something to C and trying to otherwise project to Ardris and to Jorhan and to anyone else who he can get a hold of, as he looks around the room to be like, y'all just brought him like this? You brought them like this? This is what y'all are doing now?
Ardris is just drinking wine, side eye at Micah,
What'd you expect us to do? Oh, this is big upset.
Right. Super interesting conversation. Lots of things to think about. Just to clarify, so I want to make sure I have the correct timeline of events. School exploded. You went to a forest. You went to a town. Survived both encounters. Left both of those places. Went through a creepy forest. Went to a Vamana, the capital. Almost died, thanks to the Emperor. Well, rescued by myself. I did all of the hard work. The dragon definitely didn't do all of the rest. Chancellor Rosani saved you all, took us to the place. You did something with a seal. Talked to me about the other seals. We escaped, left you an escape route. You went to Theratomia. You were betrayed. You, at some point, petrified Mary and then unpetrified Mary. And then, due to C's trip, or perhaps Michael's trip, I'm not sure about that part, back to Vapana, all of you have gone into a war zone and then came out of a war zone and then came here. Am I missing anything large?
We technically were betrayed during the battle with the Emperor, and we technically toppled an entire empire by ourselves. Well,
And-
the Vice Chancellor was there.
Technically speaking, how much of the information that you are aware of about seals and their locations, about the Aristenosi and general apocalypse did you tell Lady Savannah prior to understanding that she had betrayed you?
How much did we tell anyone about this?
Like, you told her and High Marshal Lord Thamus literally everything.
Oh yeah.
That was all Argerus. That was
Hey,
all
I-
Argerus.
This is Kellen is still not paying attention. This is Zach speaking. We told her literally everything. We even showed her the book. The only thing you put the foot down on was that she could not take the book with her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How much did we even understand at that time? Like, I feel
Almost
like-
everything.
You helped her create a map of where the seals are on that
Mhm.
special
Yeah, we did do it.
Arcano tech table.
We did. It
Yeah.
was in HD.
That was recorded.
Well,
Yep. HD recorded for quality
Yeah,
purposes.
quality,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah.
We were
That
caught in
was
4K on
satellite.
that one.
It was satellite too. It was like you've seen the sports plays things where you get that graph and you can't.
There's a nice little overlay about your hitbox, like as you were talking.
Yeah, it was quality. Yes, well, she was aware of quite a few things, though she isn't going to be much of a problem ever again. I have assured of that. I have assured that.
Well, I mean, good. A little bit bad, honestly. A lot bad, really. But, I mean, a power vacuum in the cult is going to be a problem. We had an idea of who we were dealing with when it was Lady Savannah, but now we don't. But I have people in place. You might call them interested parties. And Jorhan leads in, spies. Interested parties who are doing their due diligence in order to make sure we are as informed as we can be about. Unfortunately, most of this cult is just in very, very disparate splinter cells. There's,
Can I ask a meta question really quick, just based on
Hit
that
me.
interaction? Based on like being in classes with Bloom and what he just said there, is he kind of the like, I don't like spies. Spies are the people who have been caught. You're not a spy until someone knows that you've been spying. I do not like them. Is that kind of like his overall philosophy?
I think if you had finished 4 semesters with him, you would have been aware of the society that you would have gotten an invitation to.
But we have not done so yet.
Yeah.
Not yet.
Not yet. Yeah, so we have people, it's like I said, it's very disconnected, which makes it very difficult to keep any sort of accurate record, but we're doing our best.
Anything else you wish to ask questions about?
I've got millions of things I wish to ask questions about, but all of you look quite tired. Honestly, is there anything you need to ask a question about?
Is the Chancellor, she okay?
Fantastic question. So, C, can I talk to Micah for a bit? This is kind of very interesting information for them.
You see their eyes like kind of like, you know, where you see the cameras like shift like irises? That's almost kind of like what it looks like with their eyes as they try to focus towards you, towards Loom. What is the news? I will make sure it does not disturb.
Oh, I was going to tell them about their mother, Chancellor Rosani. I think that they would be actually rather happy to hear about this.
You can see kind of like the faces started to shift a bit. And then eventually, just for a brief second, the humanity starts to restore. It says, Mom? Is Mom there?
She's good. Right now, she's in a state, you might call it hibernation. So, due to the injuries she had before, we had to find her a very secure location that no one's going to stumble into, but I have checked on her regularly. She is snoozing away happily, and I think, difficult to put a timeline, it's a couple of weeks probably, she should be back to her full normal self.
It was that they kind of look down, and there's a genuine smile on their face, and they look up and say, "That's good to hear."
Of course, she'll want to see you when she wakes up.
Well, and then suddenly, whoop, the face returns and says,
Dang.
"Good to know. We will keep that in mind. Of course,
See,
balance is required above all."
who decides what balance is?
I wish I had a summon Mondron spell, but they would look towards the Loomis says, "Balance is essence from afar, law above all." And when balance is disrupted, it must be restored. Law must be installed.
And be the only one that finds this incredibly annoying.
Through any means necessary.
Mudras are like that. Yes.
Understood. Thank you for your patience in answering my questions. Anyone else have a question for me?
What brings you here now?
Mostly I wanted to talk to you about the information we had about the seals. But given the fact that you have just, let's say, deposed Lady Sylvana, a lot of the information that I had to share is shaky now.
Why?
Well, because we could keep tabs on her, we could keep tabs on a lot of the movements of this cult. But now that she's no longer there, we're having to figure out exactly who is going to step into that place. And because the cult is so spread out all over the continent, it becomes even more difficult to figure out if there will be someone who takes that spot or if it will just continue to splinter.
For someone who gathers information, you sound like you don't know a lot.
Well, to be fair, I did only find out about these seals like a week ago. I've been doing pretty stellar work.
Otis raises an eyebrow in the impish way 16-year-olds do when they think they know more than the authority figure.
Yeah.
Mhm.
To be fair, we overthrew an empire like 4 hours ago.
Just Arjus is.
Yes, I am gratified that all of my students have shown such promise. Surely it reflects well upon the school and upon my own tutelage.
Only took what class with you?
But what an important class it was.
I found it very interesting, at least.
Thank you, Mary. I rather think that Mike enjoyed it quite a bit too. Kellen,
Huh?
so glad you could join us at the table. Did you have anything to add?
Nice
Actually,
work.
I'll let Jorhan just fill you in. I feel like that you probably have plenty to talk about anyway. And honestly, I've seen too much of you lately, if you don't mind me saying. So I'm going to go to bed, presuming that you don't mind, Mr. Ardress, that we take up rooms.
Master, does the book say anything different?
About
Anything, just like different from
so
the last
like
page that I checked before.
You're sitting at the table, you're pulling out the book, and you're flipping through it right now.
Yeah.
As you open the book, you flip past the diagrams, you go to the page. One thing that you notice two things. One, quite a bit of writing on the next several pages. It looks like sort of journal entries and maybe some sort of like research notes or something. You kind of flip through it and you're like, there's a lot of writing here. You get to a blank page, which is now towards the middle of the book, and the writing is almost instantaneous. It's like, hello, Ardress, Lauren, husband, son, friend.
So, you'll write that in the book.
How can I assist you? The writing is so much more smoother than before. It looks like it's taking less effort.
Are you more than before, or can I understand you better?
We are more closely connected, so it does not take as much effort for me to communicate.
Is there anything that I'm missing about this situation? We have been playing catch-up recently. I'd like to get ahead of this.
I only know what I knew and what you tell me.
Is there another of your relics out there?
Although I do not personally have any more relics, there were others who traveled with me. We created each of the seals together. Each of the seals required a sacrifice. Someone was left behind at every place. At the last one, I was the only one left, along with a few other knights who had accompanied me. It took all of our power to finish it.
During your time in the cult, did they have a particular way of doing things? Hand signs, language, imagery, anything that would potentially help us identify a duplicate or people attempting to be like them?
I was like, I could go back in my notes to see what I said last time to you from the book. I don't think the book has ever talked to you about a cult. Has it?
No, but he is extrapolating. There's a code.
I don't believe it ever has. Okay. There's a little bit of a pause, and then you see it written. I don't understand what you mean. There were many who opposed us, but they opposed us because of the Arasinozi. They were already infected. That's maybe not the right word, but it's the only word I can come up with. It affected their understanding of relationships and boundaries and aggression. And of course, it wanted to protect itself. So it tried to stop us. I do not know what you mean by a cult.
Was there a method to identify these individuals besides waiting for them to act against you?
It was far easier to try to remember the names of our friends.
Is there anything else that can be done to prepare for the closing of the rest of these seals?
With each seal, you go back in time farther. It requires more and more power. The first seal that we created will be the hardest one to reseal. But I am concerned that even these 7 seals were not enough.
Was there something else? A theory, perhaps, that you all had at the time but weren't able to experiment or experience or go after?
There is a tendency to look at the actions of the past with a justification or a rationale that didn't exist. At the time, we were panicked. We felt that the world was collapsing around us. We were doing everything we could to stop it. We used technology that we ourselves didn't fully understand in order to create something that we could only pray would be enough.
Technology, where did it come from?
We don't get an answer.
Now is not the time to be debating morality or honesty. Any information that would change the fate of what has come or what will come is important. There's already been enough dead for several lifetimes. How can I find this information?
You don't get an answer. You see something that looks like it would try to start writing, and then it just makes like this ink blot. It appears that if, say, Justicia is not writing to you back, it's not because she's choosing to stay silent.
Is there a particular force in preventing you from speaking, or is there a consciousness behind it?
No answer. Make a what are we gonna call it? We're gonna call it Arcana. Make an Arcana check.
Ooh, I'm good at that.
Now you're
26.
Now you're enjoying your intelligence.
I just need I need every set at 20, and then I need to have expertise in everything. That's fine.
So
What did you roll?
23.
23. You now are kind of thinking about, like, why isn't she answering me? I'm attuned to the book. I'm attuned to the sword. Like, we are as close in commune as two people can be separated by death. What is going on? And as you think about it, you think about all of the other times you've asked questions that she hasn't answered, you realize, although it has not been the case this time, every other time she's only been able to respond to you 5 times. This time she was able to respond to you more, but it appears that she's reached a limit. That perhaps the act of like evoking writing is such that it is too taxing for her to continue on.
Very well. He will turn his attention to the other people. You'll
Hey.
go and...
Not to be completely rude, but I did ask you a question and then you opened a book and ignored me for about 5 minutes. Just
Yes.
making sure. Did you have anything you need to ask me about? Because I have patiently waited to provide any information that I can provide.
I was getting to that. What do you know about the Saint's travels during her time?
Well, before my time, so I don't know anything directly. I just kind of know the stories, you know. The stories are she came from the west, headed to the east, spread the news of, lay down your arms. That's about it.
Right.
You should ask Tiffany. Sorry, the archivist.
I have absolutely no idea where she is.
No, she's in the Hall of Mages.
Very well. You'll feel free to rest as much as you like. I will be here if you need me.
All right. Can't help but feel this conversation was a complete mixed bag, but it is very good to see all of you. His gaze lingers on Micah/C for just a moment. Healthy and safe. If you have need of me, I will be in whatever room it is that I crash in first, but don't hesitate. I would suggest you knock. And then he goes upstairs. Jorhan is staring at Kellen.
Kellen is still, now that no one is no longer actively saying his name, not really paying attention. Would you like to know what's going on in his head?
I absolutely would. Do you want to tell me now or when Jorhan drags you into a room to have conversations?
He might demand the answer anyway, so if
Up to you.
we'll wait, see if it comes up, and if not, I'll DM you after.
All right.
Nice.
Because I do desperately want to know what it is. But I want to make sure everyone gets to where they're going first. Mary, Otis, and Micah/C. Where are you headed? Also, imagine that Yvain is now asleep somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Micah is going to
sorry.
so Micah was just going to go on guard duty. They say they were going to watch, especially since
Etienne.
Tia went to sleep, trance. So Micah is protecting the house.
With the weird kind of deliberately disorienting architecture in here, do you want to specifically look at the front door?
I think that would be their primary objective, is keeping an eye out on the front door, but still look around for other areas as well, if they could.
You can see the front door and the stairs pretty well, but if you try to go anywhere else, you start to lose sight of the door, of the stairs. Like, each other room is pretty highly compartmentalized. So, I mean, like, if you want to say that you're actively patrolling for part of it, you can, for the parts that you're not sleeping. But for the parts that you're not sleeping, you'll need to have a stationary spot. So if you want it to be facing the door.
Yeah, it'll be facing the door.
You kind of put your back against the tree that's in the middle of the room, and you can see the door and the stairs to your left.
Perfect.
Otis will think at Nazareth and go, "You're my best friend. I trust you."
You're my best friend. He needs me.
Otis will nod. And Otis will essentially, his attention will be on Miri.
Okay. I will tell you, Micah, one thing that you notice when you sit down is that Nazareth, you tell me, can you see the Moldron?
Oh, Micah, definitely. They see the Moldra constantly.
Okay. So for the rest of this time, Nazareth has been on the opposite shoulder. But as you get into a comfortable spot where you're focused on the door, you see Nazareth move to the same shoulder that the Moldron is, but tries to put herself in between your neck and the Moldron.
Oh. I think C would turn to the side and kind of like cock their head and then look up. But they don't understand the behavior as well, because of course they're new to this. And they keep eyes forward while looking up. It says, "Will you help watch?"
As you cock your head to the side and look up, you watch as Nazareth mimics your movements, cocking her head to the side and then looking up. And then says, "I will help watch."
They nod, turning their head to the side. And I think C looks down for a second, but they're not able to fully grasp the full concept, and then returns back to looking at watch. They're not smart enough yet to pick up on it.
That's so good.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's good. Miri, what are you doing?
Oh, did we lose you?
Lose Miri?
Uh-oh, I think the camera froze. Oh, she's back. Okay, cool.
Okay.
Miri, can you hear us?
Am I here now?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we hear you now. Yeah,
Welcome back.
I was like, no. Okay. Miri wants to go find a room to sleep.
Mm-hmm. You go up the stairs, and there are many rooms in this house. I think you're cognizant that Loom took the one closest to the stairs. And other than that, you are the only people who've come up here, so you can have your pick of the room. I assume Otis is close behind you. As you
Yes,
walk
Otis would have
upstairs?
followed. Otis would have followed.
Okay. Miri will go at least the room somewhat directly across from Loom.
Okay.
And just turn around to Otis. Are you going to choose a room or where are you going?
I'm gonna pick a room, but I'll make sure you get to sleep safe first.
Yours. Can't take it seriously.
No, it's all...
he just
Otis.
look at him like. Oh. Well, I'm gonna take this room right here. Just in
Okay.
case I need Loom.
Hey, Mary, you ever thought about something?
I don't know what the something is. So maybe I think about a lot of things.
Are the seals actually seals?
What do you mean?
Otis don't know, big dog. Otis don't know. I mean, I know Kellen got a good look at him, but we never looked at him.
Well, I mean, I guess I don't know what I'm looking for when I look at the seals.
I mean, you're being around talking about sealing things away. Maybe that's what the problem is.
That we're not supposed to seal it away?
Yeah. I mean, that's one way of looking at it. Tree always said options branch or whatever.
I feel like both Kellen and Johan, probably Ardris too, have thought about if we don't seal them, maybe and just let whatever happen. And
But has it happened?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I feel like this might be a conversation for them, and well, for all of us, really, because I don't know almost anything about the magic seals. And I mean, what do you think I was going to the school for? I didn't know very much.
You know things, Mary. You're smart.
I'm not really that smart. I'm not like Argus or Kellen.
Yeah, but you're smart in that way where you don't get in trouble with people.
You see, you didn't know me when I was back traveling with my family. I got in trouble quite a lot.
But you got out of it, which is why you're here now.
I don't know if I would say I got out of it. More that I left because I wanted to know more about the sword that I got.
Otis has never really given a good look at Gravitus pointedly. I mean, Otis can look at it, but also Otis also hasn't attuned to his symbol, so Otis can't do any cleric things per se. But Otis will be like, "Well, I'm sure you'll figure it out."
Do you have the sword out right now?
She always keeps it on her side.
Can you describe for Otis what the symbology is on it? Like the iconography? The imagery. There's the word I'm looking for.
So at least the blade just looks like a normal blade, but the hilt is more of like, I guess, vines and ivy.
Oh.
It's almost like it's engraved in it, and also the actual, I don't know the parts of a sword that I'm talking about here, but like the fancy stuff on the rapier, it looks like it's sprouting like leaves.
Okay, the handguard. Okay.
Yeah.
Are they like living plants or like stylized metal to resemble plants?
It's probably more stylized metal.
Okay. Okay, I was just double checking. And I was looking at that like, well, it's a pretty sword.
Yeah, that's why I got it, and made my family worry about me and passed out and ruined for a few hours.
You ain't never told me about that, Mary.
I don't think I really told anybody about how I got my sword.
But not about passing out somewhere.
Oh, well, it was when I got Gravitus that it happened, and I mean, I was with some of my younger siblings, and they couldn't find me, and I have never been able to find that ruin again since we left. So I can't really find out more about it or why it happened.
Do you think it's because of the sword?
Maybe, maybe not.
Oh, this is kind of got like the food for thought face. And then it's just like, see, I don't know these sort of things. I'm trying.
That's all we can do, at least now. Try.
Thanks for being somebody I can count on, Mary.
Yeah, I don't think that anybody should feel like they're alone. And always have somebody to talk to, even if there's all of us in this party here. We're still, I guess closer.
I'm glad you feel closer. If anything, I feel more distant from some people than when we started.
I guess that can happen whenever you actually start knowing somebody.
Is that normal?
It can be. You think that you know them well, and then you get to know the real them. Maybe they aren't who they presented when you first met.
Why are people so complicated? Why can't they be like birds and trees and other animals?
That I couldn't answer.
You ever talk to a tree?
Don't think so.
It's real simple. The older ones got wisdom to pass down, but it's usually about what they seen the other day. Something about getting water, and at some point they got to mention being connected. Real simple, right? And Otis has this look on his face like, this is common sense. Like, I don't understand why things are so complicated.
Yeah. Well, I still think, even with people, that it's still connected. We're all connected.
Yeah, you've been saying stuff like that, especially with this string you've been looking at.
Well, I haven't seen those strings in a long time. Meaning probably like a few days.
Interesting thought. I would
don't
say,
tell me I triggered an event.
Uh-oh.
I'd say when you woke up from petrification, you were so focused on your physicality and like your body's like wholeness that you weren't necessarily even considering the strings. But now that Otis has drawn your attention to them, I would like for you to make me a wisdom saving throw.
I'm so sorry.
Oh no. Okay,
I'm so sorry.
here we go. Wisdom saving throw. Ooh. I rolled a 17 on that. So that is going to be say 23.
Ooh, that's really good.
There are more of them now.
Oh.
Before you had just these like red strings that petered off into nothing, and then eventually connected to these very important people to your party. But now you see more. There's a couple that are kind of this shimmery golden color. And one of them seems to, you got a 23, one of them seems to be heading kind of towards where Loom is. There's this faint green one that seems to be pointing down towards where Argus' mother is. There's this brilliant, beautiful blue one that is pointed somewhere off in the distance to the east. More than one, actually. There's 9. I think it's 9.
What color are they?
Blue. Or the ones that are pointed far away in the east. Gold. There's a couple of them that are pointed at different. One of them appears to be going towards where you know Loom to be. You haven't gotten close enough to the room to know, does it actually connect? But it seems to be in that direction. And there's a couple of them that are gold, and then one green one that is pointing towards Argus' mother.
Okay. So I've got gold, green, blue, and red as my colors that I'm seeing. Okay. And those ones are going to the east. And she starts looking around at like all of them, just like, there's more now.
There's more string? Otis starts to get the face like, oh no, it's getting bad again. But then you see Otis start to consider like there might actually be something to it. His wisdom is starting to kick in at long last.
The ones on us are different than the other ones I'm seeing. And there's one It's really far, I guess. Probably that way. And she points to the one that is going to the east. Everything else seems to be pointing to something here, except some of these ones.
Is there anything about the string, or is it just all the same kind of string?
They're different colors, but I don't know what they mean, really.
You ever tried figuring it out?
I could think about it.
You want to try? Magic can help you. Otis is offering guidance in his Otis way.
Okay. So, I mean, Mary will try and think about why she thinks they're different colors. Based on at least that she knows that one is maybe pointing to like Loom, one's pointing to Ardish's mom, and then them.
Make a religion check.
Don't forget to add that D4 if Aaron will allow it.
I will allow it because this is a planned action.
Thank you very much.
Ooh, that's a net one, but I'm gonna use my inspiration finally.
Love it.
I'm gonna use my inspiration to roll that again.
Woo.
That's a 19 now. Okay, great. So I need a D4. Oh gosh, where's the D4? There is one.
Yay.
That's a 4.
Yay.
All right, so total of 23 again, and I don't have any boosters on that.
You know, sometimes you guys give me situations that are so difficult to resolve because you're currently standing in front of a doorway, not even in a doorway, just in front of one. And as you kind of focus inward on your knowledge of how the strings first came to be, you remember yourself standing in a weirdly infinite kind of room with this bright, warm figure behind you who offered you to take anything you wanted off of the table. And you said all you wanted to be able to do was to protect your friends and know that they were safe. And when you woke up, you could first see the red strings. And as you're thinking about that, you're kind of leaning in, focusing on the strings. Even though you close your eyes, it's like you can still see the strings. And with your eyes closed, you focus a little bit further. And then it's like you open your eyes and you're back in that same room. And you're standing in front of an impossibly long craftsman's table filled with food and drink and weapons and armor and knickknacks and tools, and you have a dizzying moment where you look behind you and the room itself stretches to infinity, and there's this warm, comforting presence behind you that has like this light that is just shedding off of it that you just know. It's like kind of in a dream where even when you don't see something, you just know it. You just know about this presence behind you.
And she'll turn because she's gonna assume that it was that same presence that she's been feeling each time.
Yeah, as you turn, the presence never is in front of you. So you can turn any which way you want, and the presence is always still behind you. So you hear it kind of in your ear, maybe a little too close. You hear, hello.
Oh, okay.
You are wandering back.
I guess I am. Well, I was trying to focus on the strings.
It is being good for seeing you again.
I wish I could say the same because I can't see her. She's gonna keep like trying to turn around.
You just hear like a laugh in your head, outside of your head. It like feels. Sorry, that was my Texas accent coming out. Fills the room, and and like you're also like your inner mental domain. Like this laughter is sourceless and everywhere. It is probably not being the best of the ideas if you are seeing of me.
Well, I mean, if that's what you say, I just don't know who you are. You've come to me a few times, but I don't even know what you are. You have a name or anything.
Names can be very important. Is the name that you are having being the important one of you?
That's what my dad gave me.
Connection. You are still having my symbol?
Your symbol? What does it look like?
You feel like there's something around your neck. And there is a simple, like, red cord that comes down to a circle that has just a little flame cut out of the center. It's a little circle of wood. Very, very plain and unadorned. Just like a little circle of flame in the middle.
This, then, just like...
You are having it now.
Okay. That still doesn't give me a lot to go off of. What it is or how I even got it.
Here is being the thing, Wanderer Mary. Sometimes you are can being one thing, but sometimes you are can also being the thing that the people are needing.
So like when I talk to my friends or just I've always been taught to be there for people.
The one that is being there for you is who?
Being there for me? I guess my friends also.
You are having the many, very many strings. You're knowing this, yes?
Yes, I saw the strings, a lot of them, more than last time.
You are seeing them more now.
Are you saying that they've always been there?
Yes. Well, yes and no. The strings are always being there, but as you are changing and growing, the number of strings is also changing and growing. So maybe not all of them are always having to have been there.
So I earn them and I get them when I make a new connection.
It is not earning, Wanderer Miri. It is building. But I am thinking you're often being the very giving and not the very needing yourself. So it is being the gift. You can see the people that you are knowing, that you are needing, that they are needing you, the ones that you are carrying, the ones that they are carrying you, the ones that are being making, the ones that are breaking, you are seeing.
I'm going to say yes. You're saying a lot of the same one over and over again. And that I can see those that I make, but no longer they break, and it
is being confusing, yes?
A little, because if there's people that have broken a string, then that means that they're no longer here?
No, it is being the normal things for breaking.
Like losing a friend.
I mean, all of life is the making and the breaking and the changing.
Yeah, I would say that.
It is being normal. Oh, but you are probably should going back. I think that he is waiting. And you feel yourself blink and you're standing behind that door, or in front of that door, with Otis directly in front of you. Otis, from your point of view, Miri closed her eyes and then didn't move for a solid minute.
I was like, what happened to you?
Just like, I am of the knowing and the making and the breaking.
Otis is definitely doing a medicine check. Definitely doing a medicine check.
Roll a bird, boy. Let's see what we get.
Okay. Survey says that's 13.
Oh no.
You know, she does look a little tired.
Otis is like, you need to sleep, Mary. Go to bed. Go to bed before it's too late.
Before it's too late. It's only like, what was it, like almost 10 o'clock tonight? That's not that late.
I think I made you worse.
I don't think it's worse, but I didn't see, but I went back to the place that was warm and it felt good, but I didn't see the person or thing it was. They talked about the strings.
Place that felt good.
Mm-hmm.
And Otis was actually going to recall one of his dreams where Aaron gave Otis the vision of everyone being together under the tree, all of his close-knit people, and having that presence of warmth and safety. And then he'll say, well, I had a dream like that.
Where you felt warm and safe and...
Yeah. And then... Oh, you go ahead.
She's gonna say, did somebody talk to you?
Yeah, kinda.
Did they talk about the knowing and the breaking and the changing and making and...
Otis with a straight face. I ain't hear nothing about that.
They
It's
told
talking
me
about
that...
the importance of family and relationships or whatever. And that's what I want. And not to mess it up.
I told them that I wanted to know that you guys are always safe and protected. And then they talked about the strings and that I make them and people need me, but who I need, I don't know. And I am a little confused because I feel like I can talk to you guys, but maybe that's not what it meant.
Well, if I can't give you what you need or want, maybe I'm not the one you should be talking to about this.
But
Even though I'm here to listen or whatever.
I don't know what it is that I need then. Because I feel like I have most things. I mean, I wish we weren't doing all the war stuff, that Micah didn't go off on their own and we had to fight and all this SEAL stuff. That I didn't wish for, but we're still going through it and we have each other and we're mostly safe.
Yeah, mostly. But just like you said, something always happens.
It feels like it.
Well, Mary, how come you never took the time to think about what you need?
Well, there was always something going on and somebody was upset or they needed a friend.
You want to think about it now? You're going to sleep after all.
I feel like I've done a lot of thinking tonight, and then I got taken to the big room again, and then I still couldn't see who it was. I can try to think. I think that's what they're trying to make me do, with the way that they keep talking to me.
Well, Mary, you're one of the best people I know at talking to people. Maybe you just ain't found the right words to say yet.
Maybe. And I don't know, maybe you do too.
Oh, this deadpan face is here.
She just smiles. She does exactly what she just did.
Y'all too cute. Y'all too cute.
But yeah, Otis will see Miri off to bed because I'm sure we're encroaching on time.
Yeah.
If we haven't passed it. Yeah.
Oh, it was a fun little
Very
scene that I think it was important for both of your characters to get something out of. As both of you head to your individual rooms, are you doing anything else other than going to bed?
Otis will cast. We getting them elementals out, Aaron. We getting them swingers out.
I'm fairly certain the boons could only go on you because you're the only person in the room.
Exactly.
All right. Roll on the table and just DM me which boons you got. That's fine.
Well, it's your call, so I don't like if there is a table, you would have had to like it specifically says for swinger you pick. So
all right. Well, give me a second and I'll look up the table and figure out which ones.
yeah, you can just hit me up about it next
You're
time.
doing 8 on yourself?
You better
just
believe
to double
it.
check? All right.
You
All
better
right.
believe it.
This is the most ridiculous broken thing that exists. I have to do some more reading. All right. You do that for whatever ends that happens.
A little
Mary,
over a minute's time, yeah.
Mary, you got anything else before you go to bed?
She's going to try to think really hard about at least what she thinks the strings mean, at least in the colors, and also what she needs.
Okay. As you get to thinking, you're kind of, getting your stuff all together, putting your pack away. You take Grabtooth off of your hip, and as you do, you realize, oh, there's actually a string here too. There's a small purple string that's tied around the hilt. And as you grasp it to move it away, you hear in your head, to be fair, I am a pretty sword.
I never said you weren't. I do think you're a pretty sword.
Well, you haven't said much at all lately.
I guess I haven't had time to talk.
Yes, we're all so busy. That's all right.
Did you want
I'm
to talk
still here.
now?
No. I'm just here if you need me. As always.
Okay. And whenever she does go to sleep, she'll leave Grabtooth on the bed next to her, almost like it's like sleeping with her.
Love it. Yeah. So you spend some time thinking about it. You're thinking about the red strings that head to your party. There's 3 gold strings, the 1 green, and then I misspoke earlier. There's 10 blue, not 9.
Okay.
That are to the east. You give a little think about it, and you're like, without more data, it's kind of hard to come up with anything other than you know where the red ones go, and you have guesses about the other ones.
Okay.
You don't know, necessarily what the colors mean, except for they seem to be showing some sort of difference.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know if maybe you're going to see more in the future. Will you see them all when you wake up in the morning? Will you see more? Will you see less? You don't know.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I think despite your very high roll, I've given you all the information I can give you for what you know.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Excellent.
Mary knocks out.
Nice. So we've got 3 down because Micah/C is also on watch. Ardris, are you going to bed?
Argus will be at the table, and he will trance until his trance time is over, and then speak with his mother afterwards.
Okay. So that leaves us down to the Kellens. So Jorhan is going to, seeing Kellen in this like weird calculator fugue mode, is going to just kind of steer by the arm up the stairs until whatever point Kellen realizes that you're heading somewhere else.
I think probably when we stop and get there is when he'll kind of be like, oh, we've moved. Where do I end up?
At the farthest door from the stairs. And he kind of opens it up, shoves you inside, takes the time to alarm everything, and then turns to face you. All right. So are you like good, fam?
Yes, I have a couple of very important questions, and I imagine you might have some as well.
Same. What have you been doing? Because like there's some pretty heavy stuff that we were like talking about during dinner, and I felt like you didn't really process any of it.
I guess maybe we need to start with the last question first then.
Okay.
Have you ever heard of or seen a spell of resurrection being performed?
I am aware that this exists, yes.
Well, what I was thinking about, right? So there are gods, yes?
Yes.
So Ardris has that weird sanctum spell, right?
Yes.
So you could use that to create a source of protection, some of the concepts from that, to block out the outside world. Sending seems to have methods of connection to it. If you could somehow pull those in, some of those runes and incantations, that would perhaps give you a connection to them. If you could find some sort of spell that can direct you to God, obviously some sort of rune that would need to be highly complicated. Once you do that, cure wounds, lesser, greater restoration, those types of spells, they would have runes of restoration. So if you could take that and some of the dispel magic concepts to disperse them over an area, more those concepts of the spell than the actual runes that remove the magic, that could allow you to potentially feasibly make a connection to the god, create safety for them from the outside world such that they can work their divine magics and use the other concepts to take a part of a person and use that to expand them and make the person whole again. Which is obviously severely complicated, but that's what I was thinking about.
Shorhan looks incredibly conflicted because half of him is already running the computation for what spells he is aware that could do some of these things and like already trying to piece it all together. And the other half of him is warring for control. So you see, like, as you're talking, like, he leans in a little bit further. He starts nodding more. You see, like, his own eyes kind of start darting around as he's putting stuff together. He's like, so basically what we're saying is you can take and basically create a dome of something that would stop magical interference inside of a place that stops magical effect. And within that dome, we would be able to channel more divine nature in a place where divine normally could not go.
Well, maybe. That actually makes more sense. I was just thinking more like if I were a god, right? And I was going to grant someone like something so big as a boon of resurrection, I probably wouldn't want other people like observing that process and knowing about it than the one that I decided to bestow that on. So I was thinking of it more like just some like more like to prevent arcane interference, I guess. That way, you know, the god feels like comfortable that they're not, you know, doing things that might get out and about into the world by working their sort of crazy divine magics. But yours is good too. Actually, that kind of leads me towards the second question. We're going backwards here.
Oh, hold on. And he stops, pulls out a book, starts scribbling furiously for like 90 seconds. And then abruptly stops, closes the book, and is like, okay, next.
Actually, can I borrow that? Like, next page sort of thing?
Yeah, I mean, you're me.
You might want this later, so he kind of like, waves the page so then Kendra goes to the next page, and then uses Keen Mind to reproduce all of the incantations, all of the somatic components, all of the properties, colors, and threads of magic involved in Lady Sylvana's creation of the dome that she made. Because
Beautiful.
That's the thing that has happened recently enough with Keen Mind that he can do it.
Yeah.
So it's only the way that he remembers it, but he was kind of watching her directly, and she got his attention directly because she made eye contact with him and was like, I'm sorry you're not by the dome.
Yeah.
So it's interesting.
He
would reproduce all of his knowledge of that spell into the book.
Okay. Y'all get derailed again as Johan reads it over and starts making like marginalia all over it about like, oh, this could be this. What if we use this? Could it be powered with blah, 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 and like starts also attempting to retro engineer it. And then he's like, wait. Hold on. Because, I mean, us, I could absolutely just get lost in this.
Sure,
right
next
now.
3 days, yeah.
Yeah.
The last question is pretty important too, though.
I also have a couple of questions. Is this a conversation ender kind of question, or is this a conversation middle kind of question?
More of like a middle. It's not going to like end it.
Okay.
Is Vulcan's Guide required to actually properly recharge the power of a seal? Because I just kind of attuned to it and it seems really important. But I'm also aware of the fact that, the sort of obelisks there specifically allow you to concentrate through your hands. And so it seems like, if you were just going to store arcane energies, you could have put it into a ring. There are, from what I hear, pearls that can do such things. There's like, you can put it anywhere. Why do it in gauntlets specifically unless there was something intrinsic about them that was kind of like a key? You know what I'm saying?
Incredibly important. At least it was for us in my timeline. But we didn't get it until we were on like seal 5, I think, out of 7. We had got to the point where the means that we had to fulfill the magical requirements were not enough. And it was actually Chancellor Rosani who granted us access to what was previously being used to keep the enchantments at the school safe. It's incredibly rare.
I would imagine so.
So it wasn't, I don't think, crafted with the intention to deal with the seals, although that does kind of make me realize I don't know much about anything about the founding of the school, so maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess you could ask us.
Huh?
Can we pretend like I didn't say anything? It would
We
be super cool if we could pretend like I didn't say anything.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah, so really, really important especially as you get to the oldest seals, because it's just, even all of us on a good day, with all the fighting we were having to do, we didn't have enough magic left over in order to actually do the seals. And when you don't finish the seals, when you come back to finish the seals, you got to fight all the way through it again. And it's...
So how would we know if we actually finished a seal? Because we sort of didn't really know what we were doing on the first couple. And I mean, not that we really know what's going on now, but we certainly know more. Are we certain that like the first two that we went to are actually like good now?
I can check to see what they look like compared to how we left them, with the caveat that what we did wasn't enough. But we got through all of them, so I think that we did it correctly. You have to realize, benefit of a couple decades of research, but like we were also guessing our way through a lot of it. No, handbooks written around. But I can look them over. Generally, if you power them to the requirement power, it basically provides the system enough energy that it can maintain itself over the course of like centuries. It's been losing a small amount of power with higher and higher frequency, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
it's like if you made an arcane glyph or something and you never came back to refresh it. Eventually, it would just disappear.
Right. So I guess this is my last question. Did you all ever figure out where, like, the seals came from? Because, like, I only very vaguely understand how they might have come to be.
So, hopefully, I'm not spreading too much here. But the way Argis explained it to me was that the people who made it at the beginning, the, St. Justicia and all of her contemporaries, were using ancient technology that they had found, that they had not fully understood for this purpose. So I'm not entirely sure that even they knew exactly the provenance or whatever.
Do we know where they found it?
Well, funny you should mention. So I haven't brought it up yet because I wasn't sure if it was going to be a thing. And it may not be a thing since you already know what we know. But we had a lot of stuff we didn't know because of a lot of reasons. And we ended up finding some people. No, that's wrong. There were some people who found us. And they sailed here from a different continent. And apparently their continent was very anti-arcane magic. But they had quite a few people who realized that there was a very big problem on the horizon. And they came to warn us because, I guess because they knew that we could do something about it. But anyway, whoever they were, they told us about some stuff, and I think, if I understood part of that conversation correctly, that some of the original designs might have come from that continent.
It's inconvenient that some of the original designs came from a continent that has a country that's very against such things. It almost makes me wonder if...
Yeah, I also wondered if, after they created something like this, they would ban anyone from ever creating anything like it again.
Yeah, basically that one.
I mean, continent is a little bit generous. It's pretty small in terms of like an island. I mean, not small, but not big like this continent. Moderately sized. How's that?
Right.
So I have like a million questions, but I don't want to rush you if you're not ready.
No, it seems fair. It's your turn. What's up?
Okay, you got the gauntlets. That's sweet. How did Ben give them to you? The box. What was in the box?
Well, Otto, come out.
And Otto does the whole thing and is standing directly behind Kellen the First, Kellen the Younger. And Jarhan is smiling. That's pretty sick.
Auto armor.
And Otto armors up again. And then Joran gets a look of like curiosity on his face, and he goes, Otto, unarmor. And you watch as Otto stands back up.
Nice.
Actually, I have one of those. Well, not like that. Bim is a master at designing these kinds of things, but I have something similar-ish. It's a wolf. Whoops.
From your world or mine?
Well, that depends. Am I from my world or yours?
I think the answer to that question is yes, unfortunately.
Then I'm going to have to answer your question yes, unfortunately.
Right.
Yeah. We should probably at some point decide for sure about the time loops, but I don't want you to ever hesitate to use it when you need it, right?
Maybe we should set like a threshold, right? Like, probably it's going to take me a little bit longer to sort out this arcane formula. Probably not like a required case, you know?
But
as much as I would want to use it there. But, like some saving Ardris or Miri's life, like probably important time.
For sure. But, I mean, to be fair, it didn't really hurt me. Did it really hurt you?
No, but it was a little strange. I got to experiencing pyrrhia for the first time after being away twice, which wasn't bad, but it did sort of mess with the old noggin a little bit, I suppose. Does he react at all to Pyrrhia's name this time? Because he threw that in intentionally, by the way.
Make an insight check. It's on yourself, so with advantage.
Okay. Yeah, that's a 23.
He is very carefully not reacting. You can see his non-reaction.
That's atypical for me.
Yeah. Although he does have a lot longer of a friendship with Loom than you have at this point, so...
Right, no, I'm not saying it's not something that I'm not good at. I'm probably good at it.
Yeah.
But it's not typical.
Yeah. It's not typical between you either. Like, typically, if you've asked something, it's just always been
Is
very...
there something that I should know about Pyrrhia?
What?
Like, did yours betray you?
No.
She did something very odd to Otis, and he'll explain that part of the story.
I wouldn't know.
Do you mean like you didn't have a Pyrrhia?
She attended Rivenwood Academy at the same time that I did. During the Verdant Festival, I stayed in my room and finished working on an important experiment I was running. I believe that's about the time that you met her. I know of her.
Did you have someone else? Someone else?
There were times in my life when I had people. And then there were times in my life when I didn't. And then I saved the world. And then I sacrificed everything to come here to try to save the world. So I don't think a lot about the people who are not here.
This is concerning.
I think you should see it positively. I mean, obviously your life is quite a bit different from mine. Means that you have a chance to do things better than I did in terms of the whole apocalypse thing, but also just like you and Barry seem like a good match. If you're happy, then you should let yourself be happy and not worry about it.
She wasn't like part of the other time or the other team at the end or anything?
I mean, there was a lot of people who were around. I mean, by the end, we had a lot of people helping, but we also had a lot of people who were stuck in other places because of the conflict.
Right. So was she stuck somewhere else?
It didn't end well. I watched the people that were most important to me, I kept very close. And the people who I could not keep close, I could not afford to be very important to me. Sorry. Kind of a downer.
No, that just makes my choice very complicated. Because it means I either need to take her with us, despite her being a, as of yet, largely unknown factor from the other line, or I need to... I honestly don't even want to say it on the off chance she's like somehow listening or something. Like, it's probably not a thing, but I mean, you know, right? Like, where I'm going with this.
I'm not sure that it's the healthiest relationship standard to be concerned that someone is listening to your every thought, but...
Well, it's just... I mean, the other option is to make sure I don't get any more attached. Right?
It is an option. It's not the one I would recommend, but I can't make that choice for you. I will say every victory that we did have was because of the people who I could trust. The people who were important to me, that I was important to them, that we had each other's backs, and we were able to rely on those bonds in order to not be influenced by, I don't know, like you had to have felt it at the SEALs, right? Like that weird, overpowering everything. The fear, or the grief, or the anger, or the fury. It's a lot. And you need other people to help you keep your head on straight.
I've got to think about some things. What other questions did you have?
Honestly, I think I've done enough damage for one night. Maybe we'll pick up in the morning. I can think about this. Honestly, I will probably not sleep as much as I should, but I'm going to take the book with me so that I can look at everything you've written about the... do you have a name for it? This weird dome thingy? I'm sure she had a name for it, but apparently she's dead, so...
The Trader's Honey Trap. That's what I'd call it if I got to name it.
Well, it's a good working title, at least. I'll probably work on that. Don't overthink it. I mean, we're very prone to overthinking it, but do as I say, not as I do, or whatever.
Right. I mean, would you listen to that? Like...
I mean, no, but
All right. I'll see you tomorrow. Should we expect to be planning with you for a while, or do you and Loom have places to be?
Oh no, we will. We've only just started looking at the seals, and you're right. We need to go look at those ones that you have already looked at. I mean, maybe you guys can also go look at them to see if they are as you left them. We can talk about it in the morning about who's going where. Might make sense to have like a Team East and Team West or something.
Yeah. All right.
Good night, Kellen.
Good night, Kellen.
And Kellen will leave the room that you're currently in, and you hear a door nearby shut, so you think that he's probably next door. As everyone beds down, heads to sleep, we're going to move our little mental camera away from this spot for a little bit. We fly over the continent, far away from Therantomiel and everything that our little party has experienced, to a quiet trading outpost town near the entrance of Dolendorn below, in Dolendorn above. Here we see a group of tired and rain-logged adventurers desperately bartering for a night at a local inn when a woman comes in begging for help because her children have disappeared. Next session, we're going to have a fun little one-shot so we can show some of the other things that are happening on the continent. I'm very excited for it, so we'll pick up there next time.
Woohoo! Oh, perfect. All right. I hope you enjoyed this session. We're definitely looking forward to that one shot. Again, if you like what you see here, make sure to join our Discord where we talk about their campaign. And we'll be back for next week for the next episode of Rivenwood Academy. But until then, farewell for now.